All right, guys. I am very sorry for the tardiness. Unbelievable morning this morning. The freaking car decided to crap out on us. We went to AutoZone to check our car out, and it literally died as we're leaving AutoZone. So that was horrendous. I don't even know what to say. I had to push it, and I had to push the freaking car, and then I had a meeting that was supposed to happen at 11 that I had to push back, so I had to get on and off the phone ASAP. And it's just one of those days where it's like when it rains, it pours. It was just a tough morning. We had to go get the kids. We had to drive. Like, it was just a mess. So thank you guys for being patient. I really love being here with you guys, and I don't want to be late to our own stream, but it was a heck of a morning. So what we're going to be doing today is finishing up Ray's testimony. I don't know who's next. Like, I'm kind of walking into this as unprepared for who's coming up next, and I think it's kind of just like easier that way. I know a lot of times I used to put like who it is because we watch very specific videos when we did do that, and when we did watch those videos, it was I don't know, it was just easier for me to tell you guys exactly, okay, we're gonna watch this person. This time we're just watching as court went. So we're gonna watch this, get to it, and I've skipped over a lot. So what we'll do is, hold on, if I can pull up my OBS, please. Hold on one second, guys. It's just one of those days, bro. I'm accepting the L in life right now, because I am just like telling you, today's been one of those days where it's just so much harder than it has to be. I don't know why. Okay, let's just go.
Case agent, I just want to confirm that you didn't review any, well, you didn't first witness, so we don't need to do that on this particular witness. So, Mr. Wood, if you'd like to just inquire on further direct, you can do that this time.
All right, thank you. Good morning, Detective. Thank you. Second, when we finished off yesterday, we were discussing what you had found or what you had observed at a burial site, and just for purposes of the jury, what site were you at when you found the body you were speaking of yesterday?
We were at the site that we deemed JJ's burial site.
And where, Your Honor, if I could be given state specific 10A. If I may publish that?
Yes, it's admitted, correct?
Yes.
Burial.
Detective, if you could, just for purposes of clarification, point out the location you were speaking of.
It's the burial site on the other side of this pond, just underneath this tree.
Okay. Now, you called upon, when you were out there on June 9th, was there water in it?
No, there wasn't.
And again, just to clarify, when we had left off your testimony yesterday, is it correct that you had, what you observed was what appeared to be a small body wrapped up in a black plastic bag?
That's correct.
Your Honor, I'd ask that the witness be handed state's exhibits.
Hold on, Kelsey's calling me. Hello? Okay, I'll fix it. Okay, love you. I know, so you guys have been saying that the volume is like really low. The problem with that is that I can't change the volume of the court and me too much. Like, I can't go any higher on the mic. So what happens is it sounds like I'm really quiet because the court feed's really loud. So I'll try to fix that real quick as I'm working on it over here. So I'll work on that.
10B through 10M.
What the frick? Hold on, we're just having issues from hell today. There we go. Okay. Sorry, guys. It's just been a day. It's just been one of those freaking days. All right. I'm going to turn it up. You guys let me know. It's louder now. So let me know if it's okay.
Observe each of the areas that are photographed in the exhibits.
Yes.
You saw them with your own eyes.
Yes.
And are these true and accurate representations of what you observed on June 9th, 2020?
Okay. So our volume on court is as high as it gets on our system. My mic is as high as it gets. So I'll try to be louder, and I will make sure this is as loud as the court gets, unfortunately. So that's why we got the subtitles on. I appreciate you guys being patient because it doesn't get any louder than this.
Your Honor, I move for Commission of States Exhibits 10B through 10M.
Any objection?
Judge, just to,
Into the microphone, please, Mr. Pryor.
I'm sorry, Judge. Judge, just one here on 10B if I could. Otherwise, I'm fine with the rest of the exhibits.
Okay, so let's do that then. So 10C through 10M have been offered or admitted, and Mr. Pryor, you can board error in 10B.
And officer, you're looking at 10B, is that right?
Yes.
For now.
Yes.
And the vehicle that's parked in 10B, is that the vehicle that was, the position of the vehicle at the time that you testified about, Mr. Daybell?
That's not the vehicle that Mr. Daybell was in. No.
Okay. Do you know what vehicle that is?
The driveway looks like a Subaru.
Okay, is that the driveway that you're making reference to?
That's correct.
So in other words, somebody else's vehicle is there, we don't know whose vehicle that is,
It's not the one that Mr. Daybell was in.
but you don't know whose vehicle that is.
I don't know whose vehicle that is.
You don't know when the vehicle was put there.
No, sir.
You don't know who the owner of the vehicle is.
That's correct.
I would object, Judge, on foundation.
All right, Mr. Wood.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective, so you don't know whose vehicle that is, correct?
Correct.
You were still there that day. Okay. Do you recognize this as Mr. Daybell's residence?
Yes, I do.
This is a true and accurate representation of Mr. Daybell's residence.
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I think significant or sufficient foundation has been laid.
All right, Judge, I just make a record that I'm objecting also on the basis of relevance.
I think that the problem is that the feed itself from Zoom is literally picking up the microphones in the room as its audio. So that's why it's pretty bad. You just can't hear it. You just genuinely can't hear it because it's a second microphone working into another microphone.
Vehicle in the driveway.
Okay, well, the picture shows many things, including the vehicle. I'll allow the state to have this admitted, and a sufficient foundation has been established, so 10B is admitted as well as the others.
Detective, if you will, or Your Honor, may I publish?
Yes.
Whoa, hey. What the heck is going on, bro? This is just the biggest mess. I am telling you, today's a day. When it freaking rains, it pours, baby.
Detective, what did you observe in State's Exhibit 10B?
That is the west side of the Daybell residence. When I testified earlier to coming out and standing in the lawn area, that's not the vehicle that Mr. Daybell was in, but it was similarly parked that way, backed in. And that's the driveway he was sitting in when I was observing him look over his right shoulder toward the pond area.
Detective, do you have the point with you? Can you point to where you were standing when you initially observed Mr. Daybell's behavior?
I was standing here in this area.
And then you said that you positioned yourself so that you could see what you thought he was looking at.
That's correct.
Where did you go then?
I stood more towards the driveway area. The vehicle that Mr. Daybell was in was up further this way.
What's
It
up,
wasn't
guys?
Backed in as far as this vehicle in the photograph.
And just to clarify, is that when you looked back and saw the activity under what became the first burial site?
Well, I was looking forward at that time. I was facing this direction. And I aligned myself with Mr. Daybell, who was up here more, and he was looking towards this area here.
Now, can you see the first burial site from where you're from that location?
Yes, it's the tree I spoke about earlier. This is the tree where JJ was buried underneath. This right here is the pond. You can see just a little bit more taller shrubs around the top of the pond area. But this is the tree that JJ was buried underneath.
So is it fair to say that even from the front or the middle of Mr. Daybell's front yard, you can see that location easily?
That's correct.
Detective, what did you observe in State's Exhibit C, 10C?
When I testified, I was tasked with sifting through the fire pit. This is what we deemed the fire pit. It had burnt tree limbs. There was various little pieces of trash. It was in the middle of round cinder blocks. So that's what we deemed the fire pit as.
And the way it appears in that image, that's the way you found it that day?
Correct, it was that morning, yes.
And what do you observe in State's Exhibit 10D?
This is just north of the driveway that Mr. Daybell was sitting in, looking in the same direction. So we're standing on the west side looking east. And that is the tree. And then here's the pond area right here.
Detective, I'm going to put up State's Exhibit 10A again, and if you can point to the approximate location of where this picture was taken from.
So that last photograph was taken from this area right here.
And so it's fair to say from that location, you can easily see burial site number 1.
Judge, I'm going to object at this point. There's been some leading questions.
How was that leading?
Also saying that last question is leading.
From that perspective, what were you able to observe?
Burial site number 1, JJ's burial site.
It's so weird that you have to like specifically say exactly. I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird how court works. Like you have to be so particular about what you say. It's just weird to me.
From that location?
The actual grave site on the ground, yes, from that location, but where the tree and the pond are, no, it wasn't.
Detective, what did you observe in State's Exhibit 10E?
So when I testified earlier about the difference in length of grass and shrubs in that 6x6 section that was marked off next to the pond, this is what I'm referring to. If you look close, you can see there's smaller grass and dirt protruding right here. This is probably a little bit difficult to see. There's probably a better photograph. But this is longer shrubs through here, and then in here was like the length of sod and some dirt where there was nothing growing.
And when yesterday you testified being called over to burial site 1, is that what it looked like when you got over there?
That's correct.
Detective, can you describe to the jury what you saw in State's Exhibit 10F?
So when I spoke about ERT removing the topsoil and the top level of shrubs, this is what I was speaking about. You can start to see the 3 large white rocks I was talking about earlier starting to come through the dirt.
You testified yesterday about a smell.
There you go.
Was this the same time that you began?
Gosh, dude, this is so
smell what you described
ridiculous.
yesterday?
Yes, as soon as they removed this and
Hold on.
the topsoil, that's when I instantly can smell.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm having so many tech issues right now. Like it's just this is real life. Okay. I'm just going to say it. You know, yesterday was tough. I knew today was going to be tough. And I'm not going to lie. I've been punched in the face today a lot. And we're just going to keep going nice and slow. I dealt with the feelings of yesterday. I knew what was coming today. And now here we are. So I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. I know what's coming, but I can't, there's no preparing for it. So fix all the tech stuff. We're good. Just giving you guys reality. Like I'm a normal person, go through normal things, right? And it's one of those days where you're just punch on punch on punch and just working through it. So everything's normal now. We're good. And I know this part's going to hurt no matter what. So
Smell of a decomposing body.
Detective, can you tell the jury what you saw in State 10? Or I'm sorry, 10G.
So as the ERT team methodically removed the soil around the white rocks and dug down just a little bit deeper, this is what we saw. You can start to see there's a smaller rock, but the 3 large white rocks starting to show through clearly. When I testify that there was thin wood paneling underneath the white rocks, you can start to see the edge of that piece of wood paneling underneath the rocks. We also noticed that there were roots cut that the ERT team didn't cut. They were already pre-cut. Some of the roots are fairly thick, so that was something we observed as well in that barrels.
Detective, can you describe to the jury what you saw in State 10H?
After the ERT team removed the white rocks, this is the 2 pieces of wood paneling that were underneath.
What did you observe in State 10?
No, Taylor, I love that you said that, because obviously every time I do something like this, there's obviously a group of people who are like, why would you put yourself through this? Why are you watching this? Move on. Endless amount of comments about it. And I try to explain it the best I possibly can. I know it doesn't need to be explained, but if this was your real life, at some point there's a curiosity, there's a part of you that wants to know so you can like let it go. It's almost like you just need that closure of not wondering. And I do feel that Lori's was detailed, but I have been told and heard how much more in depth Chad's trial is. It's also visible, which is just different. And, you know, at the end of the day, we're watching this so I can put this past. And then on top of that, like I told you guys, I'm working on different projects, and I feel like this is something I want to know so I can tell, you know, a full understanding of what's happened, because this is something I skipped over. We were already going to do this as a group, but now we're doing it now. But we were going to do it months and months ago. So it just took a long time to get here. So how far in advance did you know you're going to testify? I think before it starts, they send out the subpoenas and everyone knows that you're going to do it. And so I was 100% willing. And, you know, my biggest, hardest part for me testifying personally was just the fact that when you get up there, it gets really, really real, really fast. And I don't know how to explain it, but like you go from normal life to you walk those steps to you're sitting on that chair, and next thing you see is a picture of your brother and a picture of your sister being put on a screen in front of all these people, and the murderer is right there, sitting watching you. And so you're trying to keep it together. You're trying to think clearly when you can't. You're all over the place emotionally, and it's a lot of pressure because you're in front of all these people, and your job is to try to just tell them what happened clearly, but you're not thinking clearly. You're emotional. And so that's something I'll never really be able to break down. And anybody who has to testify against, I'm speaking for my mom, testifying against your own mom, it's the right thing to do, but it doesn't change that it's hard. And it was hard. And then with him, I remember thinking, I looked at him a lot. And I could see the fear without seeing. He doesn't show fear, but he just would do this or turn his head or put it down really fast. He's emotionless though. And so for me, that moment was just that, it's just that reality. Like they're showing you a picture of someone in the room that murdered your family, and you're sitting there, the murderer's sitting there in a suit and tie or whatever Lori was freaking wearing. So it gets very real, very, like you get a reality check instantly. So that's why I cried both times that I saw those pictures, because it is, you know why you're there. Like it pulls you into that moment so deeply, and everyone is just looking at you, and you know the jury is listening to everything you say, and you have to keep it together. So that's kind of what makes that really difficult.
I spoke earlier about the distinction in soil. Some of the soil looked wet or moist, some of it looked dry. Excuse me. What you're looking at here is once we remove the wood paneling, this is what was underneath, and you can start to see the distinction through here of the wet soil. And up here is just a dry soil. So the rocks and the paneling were all through here.
Exactly.
So that was the other thing that we observed. And as we took the paneling off, the odor began to become a lot stronger. So we knew we were at the right spot.
Your Honor, I apologize for any delay. I wonder if we just had a very brief sidebar regarding the removal.
They were just animals, man. Animals. That's what makes it so hard. You know why you're there. And the way they just treated them like animals. Like they were nothing. Just discarded. Don't care. How can you not care? How can you not care? How can a mother not care? How could someone who just wants to be with that person not have any conscience and think this is the wrong thing to do? These are children. These are people. This is my wife. That's her husband. That's her kids. I'll never be able to explain that to you.
So once we started removing the wet soil, and I testified earlier to a black round object protruding through the dirt, this is what we started to see. It appeared to be like tight wrapped black plastic. It wasn't very too far underneath. It's fairly shallow, but that's what we started to see. And I talked about what appeared to be the ground of a human head.
Can you describe what you saw? It states it's 10K.
So once that appeared, ERT team leader Steve Daniels used a small, sharp instrument. And I testified that he made a slit through the black plastic. And you can see the black plastic kind of peeled away on the top of the head. And then I testified there was a white piece of plastic underneath. And this is the white piece of plastic here. He made a slit in the white plastic. And when he did that, you can see what appeared to be brown human hair. Some of the hair kind of came out with the sharp instrument, and that's the hair you can see on top of the white plastic. But that's what you're looking at.
Roger, what you observed, it states exhibit 10L.
Once the ERT team continued excavating, they removed all the soil on top of this small body
That's
that
not
was
me.
wrapped in completely black plastic. I testified that it appeared to take the shape of a small body in black plastic. And this is what we saw here. It's probably a 4x2 grave, and I'm guessing at those measurements. But it started to take the shape of a small body, and then it had different pieces of duct tape throughout the black plastic on top.
What did you observe? It states exhibit 10M.
Once we lifted JJ on the ground, there was still wet soil underneath where he was laying, and that's body decomposition, the body I began to write down. So that's what the wet soil is through here. Again, you can see the roots that were cut to be able to put him in this location.
Detective, once that body was recovered, what did you do? And to clarify that question, once that body was taken out of the ground, what did you do?
I assisted the coroner and a few other officers in placing JJ in the body bag, black body bag. The coroner locked the body bag for evidence. We then put it in the back of the coroner's vehicle. The coroner and a Fremont County deputy drove the vehicle up to the morgue, and myself and Lieutenant Rockwell followed behind that vehicle. Once we were at the morgue, JJ was placed in the morgue, and then we returned back to the Daybell residence.
Do you recall who the Fremont County coroner was?
Brenda died.
And do you recall what other officers traveled with you to the hospital?
In my vehicle was just Lieutenant Ron Ball. With the coroner, Brenda Dye, I believe it was Detective Kaiderman.
And just for clarification, you have said this already, I apologize, but what hospital did you take them to?
Madison Memorial Hospital.
And where is that located?
In the city of Richmond.
Once you finished that task, what was the next step for your investigation?
We returned back to the Daybell residence. As we got there, we were told that they had possibly.
Judge, I'm going to object at this point. There's some hearsay.
I'll ask another question. Without telling the jury what anyone told you, what did you do when you got back to the residence?
We assisted in a second burial site.
Okay. All right. There's literally no other thought, and I hope that anybody who's lost somebody in this way, anybody who's lost someone because they were unalived by someone else, the only real way I can explain any kind of peace for you is the fact that they are no longer suffering. So that's all you get here, is just that belief that they are no longer suffering, that they are not there. And that's it. Everything else is real. Oh my gosh, man. This is why I talk to you guys about police officers, because they dug JJ and pulled him out of the ground and had to see it, and we're there, and that's why you guys know why my heart is so big for them, because of the things that they see and go through. I don't even know, man. Oh, it's a lot. It's unbelievable, but the only positive in it all is that they are not suffering. That is it. That is the positive. That's what you can hold on to, because when you are that low, you're grasping at whatever's there. That's what's there. That's the only piece that I found, was that moment. If they're not suffering, that's it. Okay, let's just keep going.
And when you got back to the residence, did you observe another burial site being looked at?
I did.
Where was that located?
So through the course of our investigation, we learned that the Daybell family had deemed a section of the backyard as what they referred to as a pet cemetery. And we knew through talking to family members that the pet cemetery had a little black dog statue next to a post that kind of signified where the pet cemetery was. And so when I returned back from dropping JJ off at the morgue, I observed ERT digging in the pet cemetery area.
And did you aid in that excavation?
I did.
What did you personally do?
ERT began taking off top layers of soil in this specific area in the vet cemetery. Once they began to again see wet soil start to protrude through the dry soil, they slowed down, and we got on our hands and knees and began excavating that by hand.
And by hand, did you use tools to do that?
We did. They had small tools that we could use, trowels, like paintbrushes, things of that nature.
Approximately what time of day was this?
I'd say it was afternoon.
And approximately how many people were there with you using hand tools?
There was only a few of us at a time that could work because of the area, but also because of the smell. We had to take turns digging because we were on our hands and knees, and the smell was so bad that you could only work for a few minutes before somebody else had to take turns, get on their hands and knees, and start digging by hand.
And you said the smell. What did it smell like?
Decomposing body.
How long did you aid in that excavation using the hand tools?
Hours, probably.
And did you find any?
We did. We ended up digging down and started to uncover burnt pieces of flesh, charred bone, fatty tissue. Just, and I apologize for the lack of better words, but globs of burnt flesh starting to protrude through the dirt.
How is this real life? How in the world? How is that real? How is that real? She was a human being. JJ was a human being. Kids. Full of life. The officers were on their hands and their knees digging her out by piece. I don't think it gets worse than that. I really don't. I don't think you could do anything worse. I really don't see a lower than that.
And once you found that, how long did you keep working that site that day?
We worked probably until probably 4-ish in the afternoon.
And you mentioned ERT. Were they working there alongside you?
They were. There was also other areas being excavated as well, the fire pit still. So everybody was kind of tasked with something different at that point.
Here's the thing. There are people who wouldn't treat their worst enemy this way. I've heard a lot of war stories, a lot of history, even some of the most brutal, historical people who were brutes would not go that far. I don't think I can ever put into context the hate in their hearts that they had when they did that, because there was no reason for that. Obviously, there's no reason for any of it, but the unnecessary amount of effort that they went to after is still to this day the most horrific thing I have ever heard, ever. I have a trauma, and I didn't even know this existed. I've told you guys this before. I have a trauma from something I heard. I didn't think that was a thing. And yeah, it's like there's this trauma that something is so traumatic to you that you get secondhand trauma from it. Like it happened like with you, like you saw it. That is how traumatic it is. And I had that, and I had to still work through that. But it's just, I can't grasp it. I've even listened to other cases, and it's not this brutal. It's just not. It's not this brutal. It's not.
And once we started getting down a little bit more in the Tylee's burial site, we assumed it was Tylee, we could start to see the top of what appeared to be something plastic and green. And at that point, the ERT team leader, Steve Daniels, decided we were done for the evening.
When you were done for the evening, what happened?
We had Fremont County Sheriff's Office, the Madison County Fire Department, bring in 2 large light trucks to illuminate the crime scene. The crime scene was taped off. We had officers from Rexburg City Police, deputies from Fremont County Sheriff's Office that remained on scene all night long, walking the perimeter to make sure that the scene wasn't compromised. And it was well illuminated.
And did you return the next day?
Yes, we did.
And when you returned the next day, who else returned?
Everybody that was there the previous day.
So ERT came back,
That's correct, yes.
and other members of the FBI,
Yes,
Fremont County officers,
yes.
Rexburg police officers.
Correct.
And I believe you testified earlier that there were some Attorney General investigators there as well.
Yes,
And they were all there that second day.
that's correct.
Approximately what time did you arrive that second day?
We started fairly early. It was approximately 7 in the morning.
And what did you start doing when you got there on the second day?
I went back to Tylee's burial site. We had put up canopies to keep sunlight and wind. There was media, helicopters flying overhead, so we wanted to keep the scene from being compromised as much as we possibly could. And at that point, we got back down on our hands and knees and began digging again with those same little tools to get down to see what exactly we were going to take out the ground at that point.
And
I just need to stop and say that these amazing officers, detectives, everybody, a collaborative effort, got on their hands and knees. Their hands and knees over and over for 2 days. True Color says, it is not real life and it's not normal. It's as bad as it gets. We are here for you. We love you. The only tiny relief in rewatching this knowing he got the death penalty. Freaking frick this. Exactly. I think Lori should have got it too, but it's not my decision.
so and then what happened next? Did you continue to do that work?
Like I said, we would take turns digging because the smell was so bad. And we would just keep excavating slowly around this green object that started to come through the dirt the first day. So it started to take a shape, a roundish shape, when we began digging down and methodically removing dirt. And at that point, we could start to see what appeared to be the shape of a green melted bucket that appeared to have the remains of, we assume, were Tylee that were charred and burned inside it.
And were you there for the excavation of that bucket?
Yes.
How did that happen?
They put her in a bucket. How do you do that? How do you do that to anybody? It's just no word. There's no words for that kind of sickness. There's just not.
Once we got down to what we thought was the bottom of the disformed bucket, we observed part of a human skull underneath the bucket. There was some teeth that we ended up excavating from underneath. At that point, the goal was to lift that out of the ground. And so there was a little, we made kind of a little hole around it to try to get underneath. So we put tarps out. Like I said, the goal was to try to lift it completely out without manipulating it in any way. But when we tried to do that, when we lifted it, it all broke apart because there was nothing holding it together. So at that point, we had to go back in and remove all the pieces of the charred flesh and burnt bone and organs and pieces of tibia that put onto the tarp.
And while you were doing that, you talked about the smell. Is that still present?
Yes, very much so. Strong odor, yes.
That's
Were you
not
able to observe?
normal. That's not even close to like brutality. Like even when they killed Jesus, they didn't go to that length after. Like I could give you historical things, and yes, there is brutal people. It doesn't even compute to me. That this just doesn't make any logic. Like there's no, even for a monster, that's just such a next level evil. This is so evil. It's beyond the word evil. I don't even know how to classify this. This is like literally psychotic. This is psychopath. No one can do this. How could you do that to anybody? This is, I don't even know the word. There's not a word that classifies this. It's just inhuman. It's like an animal. And I don't even know if an animal couldn't do that. But I mean, it's like we're talking like barbarically lower than, we're talking the lowest it goes. At the absolute lowest it goes. There's no bar beneath that.
With the lack of a better word, total removal of that green bucket and its contents from that excavation site.
We were able to lift everything out at that point. We put it on the blue tarp. There were photographs taken, measurements taken by ERT. Once that was completed, we dug down even further to make sure we didn't miss anything. Once we figured out everything was out of the ground, that tarp and those Tyler's remains were then put into a body bag. In the corner again, lock the body bag for evidence purposes. And Tyler was also transferred.
And did you follow along when Tyler was transferred from work like you did with JJ?
We did. We followed in the same manner. Myself and Lieutenant Ball. Once Tyler was placed in the morgue, we returned back to the Daybell residence.
Your Honor, I'm going to be asked for the witness being handed States Exhibits 11A through 11G.
Yep, you're exactly right, Kathy.
And Judge, for the record, I've previously reviewed these and I would object to addition of these as exhibits.
All right, exhibits
And here's
11.
the thing, as objective as I can be for Pryor, this is his job to make it look like it's not Chad's. But as a person, you cannot sit through that and think, how can I blame this on Lori? I don't know how anybody does that.
A through 11G are admitted without objection. This time, as we get into this evidence, I'm going to announce that because of the graphic nature of some of this evidence, I'm not going to be showing this on the court's live stream, nor to the general public in the courtroom. The jurors will be viewing the evidence as well as the parties are permitted to see that. In addition, the court will provide an opportunity for any victims that wish to see the evidence in a private setting to view it as it's now been admitted into the record. But we made arrangements to not display this to the general public. And so, Mr. Wood, with these exhibits, that's how we'll proceed. As we will not include that on the live stream, but you can discuss it on the record in open public with the witness.
And he's just sitting there. Just doesn't even care.
Detective, can you review that exhibits? And Your Honor, I understand these are already admitted. I am still ask a few foundational questions just to establish knowledge.
Very well.
Detective, what does state's exhibit 11 report to be? And its subparts?
Photograph of Pet Cemetery and photographs of Higley as we took her out of the ground in her burial site.
And were these photographs taken on June 9 and 10?
That's correct, yes.
And were you on the scene that day when those photographs were taken?
Yes,
Are they true and accurate representations of what you saw?
yes.
Your Honor, those exhibits having been admitted out of asked to publish. Detective, before I publish that, I'm going to place state's exhibit 10A up again. And can you point to the general location of what you described as the best cemetery?
Right here.
So can you have on the record and explain where it's pointing?
Yes, Detective, will you explain where you're pointing?
It's just east of this shop area and just north of the fire pit. So it's right through here.
It makes me queasy. Like the whole I don't know how to explain it. It just makes you feel sick to your stomach. Like you just know how wrong it is. And you just feel you can just feel that evil touching you. You can feel the darkness around it. Like I told you guys, riding down that road, you can feel the evil. There's something, I don't know how to explain that, but you know that there's evil there. You just can feel it.
And Your Honor, I do think that the state's first picture under state's exhibit 11 is okay for public consumption.
It is. I just wanted to make sure our system was working as well, but exhibit 11A is fine.
Detective, what did you observe in state's exhibit 11A?
This is where we began excavating briefly. As you can see in this photograph, there's a small black dog statue next to the post. So that's where we had learned this was the pet cemetery area through talking to family members. And then there's just some tarps laid out for some of the soil. You can see in the back the markers that had been distinguished and laid out by ERT for the fire pit area that I talked about earlier.
And Your Honor, I think at this point it's appropriate to turn to public access.
I agree.
Detective, Your Honor, I'm at a bit of I have no idea if this is, I can't see if this, well, I'll ask, Detective, can you see that image in your monitor?
Yes,
Can you see most of it?
yes.
Can you describe for the jury what's been marked as state's exhibit 11B? What did you observe there?
Can I see? Is there a way I can use the pointer?
I have a suggestion also, Mr. Wood, just because I understand what you're doing to try to line that up since you can't see the monitor. If you want to set a notepad or something on there and get it oriented, then you could set on top of that just so that it's lined up.
And if I could have the screen for 1 moment, thank you. You remember that suggestion? Detective, what did you observe in State's Exhibit 11B?
It's hard to describe that, but I'll do best. In the middle of that photograph, you can start to see the different color and the changes in the soil from dry to a wet, moist dirt. Start to see to the left just a little bit of that area. You can see the white piece sticking out and it's burnt on top, and that's charred bone that's starting to stick out, and all the little pieces next to it are pieces of burnt flesh, tissue, what we later determined were organs that were all kind of, that's the top of what was inside the bucket. So that's what we first started to see when we started to execute.
At this point, were you still using the hand tools?
But yes.
You explain for the jury what you observed in State's Exhibit 11C.
So as we started to excavate down further, some of the top of the mass of burnt flesh wasn't really attached to anything. And so when we would start to dig away towards the sides, it would kind of come apart. It wasn't part of that original mass. And so what you're looking at on this blue tarp is burnt flesh still attached to some bone. The upper left part of that that section that you're looking at is part of the hip bone that still has burnt flesh attached to it, and dirt and yeah, just fatty burnt tissue.
You described for the jury what you observed in State's Exhibit 11D.
So when I talked about it started to take a roundish shape, this is what I'm referring to. And we dug around the sides of it, trying to get to the bottom, because like I said, the goal was to get underneath, have 3 or 4 guys in there and just lift it onto the tarp. So that's what you're looking at in this photograph, is just the burnt flesh. It's still just kind of inside that.
And Judge, could we approach for a sidebar, please?
Yes.
Why does this keep going? It has to end at some point. I haven't heard anything more brutal. I haven't. Ever. I genuinely feel sick to my stomach. I feel the drop, the physical drop from all of this is insane.
You're looking at is just after we got that mass out, the wet soil.
Detective, what did you observe in State's Exhibit 11G?
So these were part of a Higley that kind of broke apart when we tried to lift it out of the ground. There's pieces of charred bone. There's parts of a skull on the bottom left, covered in dirt, and there's still burnt, rotting flesh still attached to the bone. So that's what you're looking at that one. These were the pieces that broke off.
Detective, I believe you testified that
This is just
you assisted in transferring those remains to Madison County to the hospital, correct?
Correct, I followed behind in the corner.
Was Lieutenant Ball with you again?
He was.
Once you got up to the hospital, what did you do?
We observed the Fremont County coroner, Red to Die, transfer Tylee's remains into the morgue. The morgue was unlocked, but there was evidence they put up. And at that point, myself and Lieutenant Ball went back to the defendant Daybell's residence.
And what did you do when you got back there?
We assisted and made sure there were no other burial sites or anything that the ERT team needed assistance with. At that point, we decided that we were going to take JJ and Tylee to the Ada County Coroner's Office to have an autopsy performed. So roughly 4 in the afternoon on June 10th, 2020, it was decided that we were going to follow the county coroner with the remains of JJ and Tylee to the Ada County Coroner's Office for an autopsy the next morning.
And when did you arrive in Ada County, approximately?
Approximately 8 or 9 in the evening on June 10th.
And what did you do once you got there?
We went directly to the coroner's office, and JJ and Tylee were dropped off, and the coroner's office took custody of both JJ and Tylee.
So that was later in the evening.
Correct.
And was an autopsy performed that night?
No.
When was the autopsy?
The
Judge, I'm gonna object. There needs to be some foundation.
Overruled, if you know, you may answer.
how in the world is that? I don't even know what to say right now. I'm just trying to. I feel like this time it was way more descriptive than it was in Lori's. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. I will tell you. Shit. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I'm not gonna let Tylee and JJ be remembered as that. That's not what they are or who they are. How they are found and discarded. That's not who they were. And F all these people who did this. You are evil to your core. You are evil to your core. And God is not pleased with you. And you know that, and in your deep part of your soul, you know you have not pleased God. And so you live with that. Go ahead. You live with that.
The autopsy was performed June 11th, early morning hours.
Well, that was the next day.
Correct.
And were you present for that?
Yes, I was.
And where did that autopsy take place?
At the Ada County Coroner's Office.
So when you arrived at the coroner's office, what did you do first?
Initially, when we arrived, we had a little debrief with the medical examiner, Garth Warren. He told us what he expected.
Judge, objection.
It's grounds.
Hearsay?
I'm gonna snap.
Same.
And this is pre-recorded, and I'm still gonna snap on that dude.
You met with Dr. Ward.
Correct.
What was the purpose of that meeting?
To debrief us on what to expect that morning.
What did you do next?
We went to the room where the autopsy was performed, put the sanitary booties on our shoes, signed in on a whiteboard with our name and cell phone numbers. So we had a record of everybody that was in the room. And at that point, we stood back against the wall and observed the autopsy.
Now, as a detective, you don't perform an autopsy, correct?
Correct.
But you were able to see it take place.
That's correct.
And what did you observe happening during that autopsy?
One of his team members brought out the
Like you
body
have a damn case against it by objecting.
bag. And I recognized it to be the same body bag that we took from defendant Daybell's backyard that day because it still had dirt on it. It still had the same lock. And at that point, they opened the body bag and revealed the same black plastic, the small body that appeared to be in the black plastic.
And then what did you observe?
Love you too, Monica. Thank you.
Dr. Warren and his team cut down the middle of the black plastic to open up what was inside. At that time, I observed a small child with duct tape on his head from his chin to his forehead area, tightly wrapped around his head. He had red pajama pants on, red pajama shirt. He had his arms folded this way across his body. And there was duct tape from elbow all the way around to his other elbow. He had his ankles also bound with duct tape. He was still wearing his nighttime pull-up diaper. He had black socks with the word Skechers in orange. I could tell that he was going through various states of decomposition based on his skin color.
Judge, I'm going to object.
Grounds.
He doesn't have the experience to make a determination about the levels of decomposition. He's speculating.
I'll sustain the objection and start the final part of the answer about the decomposition, Mr. Wilkie.
Right. Detective, what did the body's skin look like?
The skin was sloughing. It appeared to be bluish green, black, yellow. And through my training experience, going through and handling different dead bodies at different stages of decomposition, that's what I
Judge, I'm going to object again. There's been no foundation for him to make that sort of medical assessment.
Shut up. Shut the hell up. When you put this all into context, how unbelievably just not, I don't even know a word for it. The evil, I don't know. Don't know how to say it. To have that conversation with Lori and then hear her interviews later down the road and have her tell me that she found the kids and then this is what you do after, is it doesn't just infuriate me right now. I don't even have the words for what I feel, because you would never do that to anybody after they were already gone. So I don't know why she thought I would believe her. And I'm not trying to turn this into that whole thing with Lori, but first thing that came to my mind was her story and how much she's pitched it to herself to the point where she could actually get through it. She believes this story enough because she's said it enough times to herself in her cell. And if anybody passes a note to her ever, tell her how evil she is to her core. And this is not even, this is like as close to Satan as you get, because no one does this to people, period. You just don't do this to anyone, let alone your own children, people who you love, supposedly. And this is why I think that they are sociopaths and psychopaths, because this right here.
Assessment. He's not a medical doctor.
Your Honor, my argument would be that's not a medical assessment. It makes it on his training experience.
I'll overrule the objection. If you'd like to cross further, you'll have a chance, Mr. Pryor. The objection is overruled. The foundation laid in the previous response.
Detective, once this the body was taken out of the bag and you made the observations that you've just described, what happened next?
Dr. Warren and his team then cut the white plastic that was wrapped around his head and duct tape. They cut down the middle to reveal what was underneath. At that point, I observed another piece of duct tape stretched from JJ's jawline to jawline over his mouth.
How can you defend them? How can anyone defend this? That's really the question. I don't know if the people who are defending them have listened to this. All these people, we just talked about that couple that's praying, obviously seems to be a clout move. If you've ever actually listened to this and you brushed over it, you're the same type of person as they are. You're in that same group. How can you listen to this and say that they were set up, or that Lori might be telling the truth, or there's literally no excuse. This is insane. How can you defend them if you are defensive of them? How?
He also cut the several layers of duct tape from his arms, and it revealed some more duct tape that had his wrist bound underneath all those layers of duct tape. He then took his bottom pajamas off, his shirt, and it also revealed the nighttime pull-up diaper he was still wearing.
Now, Detective, you spoke about the duct tape and bag over the head, correct?
Correct.
And you've been referring to this as JJ.
Yes.
Until that duct tape and bag were removed, though, were you able to identify him as JJ?
No. Once they removed the duct tape in the bag, through looking at all the photographs for the last 8 months of JJ, I recognized him to be the same little boy laying on that table as JJ Vallow. He had the same hairstyle, shorter on the sides, longer on top. At that point, I recognized him as JJ.
Once the clothing was removed, what did you observe happened next?
Dr. Warren pointed out some bruising on his arms, on his ankles, on his chest. He also pointed out some scratch marks on the left side of his neck, just under the duct tape.
Hold on, guys.
At that point,
I'm still going to be listening. Give me a sec.
Dr. Warren and his team performed the autopsy.
Your Honor, I'd ask that the witness be shown State's Exhibits 12A through 12B.
A through B.
E.
B, thank you.
Hello?
Detective, can you review those exhibits for me when you've had a chance to?
Yeah.
Do you recognize State's Exhibits 12A through E?
Yes,
What do they purport to be?
JJ Vallow laying on the table after they opened the Black Classic.
And were you present when those pictures were taken?
Yes.
You were in the same group?
Correct.
Are those true and accurate representations of what you observed that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask that State's Exhibits 12A through E enter into evidence.
No objection, Judge.
Very well. 12A through B are admitted. All of these are graphic in nature.
Sorry, guys.
Published or shown on the court's live feed or to the public in the courtroom, or be published to the jurors.
You observe
Thank you guys for being patient.
12D.
That's the white bag that was covering his head. It looks like blood in the bag. It's actually body decomposition, just breaking down. It appeared to be a normal trash bag. It had a red drawstring. And you can see, if you look close at the waffle style pattern, the expandable type trash bag. There's still pieces of duct tape that are attached. That's what that photograph depicts.
Describe the picture of son, 12 feet.
That's just another photo of JJ. The tape is starting to lose its stickiness because of the way the body is. It's just a different photo or a different angle.
How do you not feel the trauma you've caused in that room? How do you not feel the trauma of the jury, everyone around you? You think that they're not human beings? You think they're robots like you? Everybody in there is listening to this. Other people are looking at the pictures. Other people had to go and do all of this work because you decided to do this. That part of like the scope of not knowing what you've done, or you do know and you're just evil, it's one of the two. Or you just don't care because you are literally void of all humanity.
Of JJ's face.
This feels endless, this part, and I know it's testimony, I get it, but we're just like endlessly talking about this, and it's getting harder to keep listening to. Like it's I need the Band-Aid to come off, so I don't know.
Can I have a re-sidebar, Council?
This has got to stop. I can't keep hearing these details, bro.
And when that autopsy was concluded, what did you do?
At that time, Dr. Warren and his team removed JJ from that autopsy table. They then brought out a second excuse me, black body bag, and I recognized it to be the same body bag from the scene because it also had dirt. And they placed that body bag on the table.
And what did you observe next?
Dr. Warren and his team opened the body bag, looked at the remains, or what was left as far as remains inside. He stated there was nothing he could do at that time with an autopsy. So,
And then I'm going to move to strike as hearsay.
Your own statement already came through.
And I'm going to move to strike.
So, would you repeat the question?
What did you observe? What were you had just talked about the tonnage remains being brought out. What's your observe?
Once the remains were brought out, Dr. Warren opened the bag and looked at the remains and stated there was nothing he could do at that point. So at that time, we left the autopsy room for the day.
And when you left, did you do anything in furtherance of your investigation that day?
No.
Did you return to the Ada County Coroner's office the next day?
We did. On June 12th, 2020, we went back to the Ada County Coroner's office. At that point, Lieutenant Ball took custody of some of the evidence and we transported it to the state lab in Meridian.
And were you with Lieutenant Ball when you did that?
I was, yes.
And once you took it to the state lab, what did you do?
Those items were checked into the state lab. And then that concluded what we did for that day.
Detective, you spoke earlier about some of the other agencies you've worked with in this investigation. And is it correct you worked with Fremont County?
Correct, yes.
And I believe you testified that your primary focus in this investigation was looking for Tyler and JJ. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's accurate.
Was there an investigation in Fremont County at the same time that had connections to your investigation?
Yes, there was.
What was that investigation?
Fremont was investigating the death of Tammy Daybell, who was married to the defendant, Chad Daybell, kind of the exact same time we were doing our investigation with missing children.
And would you meet with Fremont County and discuss the cases together?
Yes, we would.
And would you aid each other in those investigations?
Yes,
Would you share information?
yes.
Detective, are you aware of any event involving Tammy Daybell on October 9th, 2019?
Yes, I am.
How did you become aware of that then?
Through the course of sharing information with the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, we were advised,
Judge, can we approach?
yes,
This guy's annoying as
Is that answered yet?
You can answer.
try not to swear.
we were advised through the course of our investigation that
Judge, I'm going to object at this point. The question is whether he was advised, not what he was advised of, but whether he was advised.
Okay, don't snap.
Our response, Mr. Wood,
Can't hear you anyway.
I'm not
It's
quite
like
sure I
road rage.
understand that
Nobody
objection,
can hear you.
don't as well, so you can continue with your response.
can you repeat the question, please?
How did you become aware of the events of October 9th, 2019?
Through the course of our investigation, we were aware of those events through speaking with Fremont County Sheriff's Office.
Why was it important to you in investigating your case to share information and receive information from Fremont County?
It was important because the suspects in that case were the exact same suspects in our case. And so we wanted to make sure that we shared information so nothing was missed. At that point, we were still looking for 2 small children. And so it was imperative to us that we shared information and gathered information from neighboring counties and anybody that was involved with this case.
And did you also confer with Arizona law enforcement?
We did, yes.
Detective, are you aware of who Charles Vallow was?
Yes.
Who was he?
Charles Vallow was married to Lori Vallow.
Is he alive?
No, he is not.
Do you know when he died?
Do you hear?
Charles died in July.
Do you hear the wake of devastation here? It is so. That sounded like a different accent. It's so. It's such a scope of. I don't even know. I don't know what to say. I don't lose my words. I'm not someone who cannot articulate what I'm thinking very often. And I am so blown away. It's almost 2026. And I'm blown away at how this all happened and how fast it happened and how many people are involved. And I don't know how to say, I don't know how to explain. I shouldn't be shocked. What a weird thing to be shocked by information you know. And yet it's just so shocking still. It's like, why am I shocked? Why do I feel like it's new? It's just so insane. When I watch other people's stories, I can feel the gravity of what they're going through, but from a third person. I guess maybe because it's first person, or I guess technically still is third person, but it's because it's my family that I just can't get over it. I can't get over how much damage is here for so many people, so many loved ones. I really am blown away by it.
July 11th, 2019.
Are you aware of how he died?
Charles was shot by Alex Cox, Lori's brother.
Now, you testified earlier that your initial involvement in this case involved looking for a Jeep.
That's right.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you testified that you were looking for that Jeep because it was requested by Arizona law enforcement.
That's correct, yes.
And are you aware of why they were looking for that Jeep?
Yes, I am.
Why were they looking for that Jeep?
Thank you.
That Jeep was a suspect in an attempted homicide of Brendan Boudreaux, who was married to Lori's niece, Melanie Boudreaux. The suspect in that homicide was also Alex Cox.
Can you imagine hearing this as a jury? I wouldn't even know what to say. You think that every single part of this is because you're so holy that Satan's this meticulous against you when everything they're telling you is something you did wrong. You can't even pretend with yourself. You can't even tell me that you think you're being affected because you're a prophet, because everything they've said so far is action that you've taken.
Detective, going back to October 9th, 2019, Tammy Daybell, are you aware of the incident that took place with Tammy Daybell?
Yes, I am.
What was it?
Judge, I'm going to object. There's no foundation as to how you became aware of it.
Sustained.
For your investigation, did you become aware of what happened to Tammy Daybell?
Yes, I did.
And how did you become aware of that information?
Sharing information with Fremont County.
And so was this part of the collective knowledge of the case that you were?
That's correct, yes.
And did you aid in that investigation as well?
I did.
So you personally became aware of these events?
Correct.
Based on your knowledge and your investigation, are you aware of any event involving Tammy Daybell on October 9th, 2015?
Judge, again, there hasn't been proper foundation.
I think at this point I've established that it's through his investigation and knowledge. Your Honor.
This objection's overruled.
You can answer the question.
Yes, I'm aware.
And what was that event?
On October 9th, 2019, Tammy Daybell believes that she was shot at in the driveway of the defendant Daybell's residence.
And are you,
I know.
when you say shot at,
I
did
know
you?
Ray. So not F with Chad. So even anytime he used to say his name, it must feel like he's having to spit a loogie out.
Are you aware of how she thought she was shot at?
She initially reported that it was possibly a paintball gun.
Detective, in
What's interesting too, I want to humanize this for a second. Brandon and Tammy both thought it was a paintball gun, and it's because their mind was probably telling them there's no way someone wants me gone, so that must have been a prank. Like it's so out of the realm of thought that someone would try to attack you and pull out a gun on you, that there must have been a point where they just both mentally said to themselves, this isn't real. So that must have been like a paintball gun or a fake gun, because I can't imagine being in that position. I don't know what my brain would do, because your brain is there to protect you. So I just thought that's insane.
in your investigation, did you ever put together timelines of events that took place?
Yes, I did.
Why is it important to do that?
Just to establish who the key figures were and the key dates to aid in our investigation, so we can make sure that we share the accurate and correct information with the other agency.
And in preparing for this trial, did you prepare any charts of key figures to aid the jury in understanding your testimony and the testimony in the trial?
Yes, I did.
And was that based on your involvement in the case
Yes,
and your investigation?
correct.
And based on I'm sorry, that wasn't very well said. Based on the information you gained from your investigation.
That's correct.
Your Honor, I'd ask that the witness be handed State's Exhibit 30.
I think that guy's so nice. It's good to have you, Pearl May. Welcome to the Chiefs. Man.
Detective, do you have State's Exhibit 30 in your hand?
Yes, I do.
What does it purport to be?
Those are the key figures that I put together as far as the investigation goes, photographs.
And did you do that to aid this jury in understanding who the people involved in this case are?
Yes,
And did you do that in anticipation of your testimony?
yes, I did.
And are those, the pictures attached with those names, are those true and accurate representations of the individuals attached to those names?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, for demonstrative purposes only, the state would move to enter State's Exhibit 30 into evidence.
Any objection?
For demonstrative purposes, no.
Very well. Exhibit 30 is entered for that reason.
Son to Lori and Melanie Pulowski Boudreaux, she was remarried, is the niece to Lori Bello.
Now, when you say that JJ was Lori Daybell's son, was he also Charles Ballow's son?
Yes, he was.
And that was by way of adoption, correct?
That's correct.
And so Alex Cox was JJ and Tyler's uncle.
Yes,
It's literally so confusing that they had to pull up, and there's so many people involved that they had to pull up a freaking picture so the jury could understand how interconnected this all is, because it is literally that insane.
Detective, similar to that last chart, did you prepare a timeline in anticipation of your testimony?
Yes, I did.
And did you do that based on your experience and knowledge of the case?
Yes, I did.
And it was based on information you gained through your investigation?
That's correct.
And did you do that to aid the jurors in understanding just the basic timeline of the events that happened in this case?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask the witness be handed State's Exhibit 31.
I'm gonna give in the marshal a shout out. He's just sweet. He's a sweet guy. I don't know why, but I hope he knows that. Get on with it, Pryor. Let's go. I know your name's Pryor, but let's go further and farther and faster. Man, what the heck is going on here? What is this break? Holy crap. I've jumped like minute after minute.
The defendant's motive, opportunity, intent, plan, or absence of mistake or accident. So with that instruction provided, Mr. Wood, if you'd like to proceed with that exhibit unit.
Your Honor, I don't have these.
But I believe the witness does.
I feel for Ray, man, because
May I publish?
Yes.
the brutality of living this again.
Just briefly before I do, Detective, before we took a break, we spoke about timeline you had prepared.
Correct.
And the reason you prepared that was to aid the jury in understanding the events of this case.
Yes.
If you can take your pointer and go through these events and just read them into the record.
July 11th, 2019, Charles Vallow dies. September 2nd through September 3rd, 2019, Lori, Alex, and the kids, JJ and Tyler, moved to Rexburg, Idaho. The last known proof of life for Tylee was September 8th, 2019. The last known proof of life for JJ was September 22nd, 2019. The attempted shooting at Brenton Boudreaux, Gilbert, Arizona, or attempted homicide, October 2nd, 2019.
Do you hear how
The
fast
attempted
this
shooting
is?
of Tammy Daybell, October 9th, 2019. The death of Tammy Daybell, October 19th, 2019.
Let me continue on the second page.
November 1st, police received a call about a Jeep. The Jeep was located November 4th, 2019. Chad and Lori get married in Hawaii, November 5th, 2019.
We cannot classify by definition Alex as a serial killer, but he's a serial killer. It's weird how specific a serial killer's definition is to region. He's literally a psychopath. If you feel for Alex or think he has a mental problem, yes, he has a mental issue, and there's no excuse for what he did. No matter what he believed or what he thought was on the other side, there's no way you could possibly believe that executing all these people yourself is not. Where in the world did you think that was spiritual or good? And he's literally a psychopath. He is.
Welfare check on JJ, November 26th, 2019, which is the same day Alex and Chad were contacted. The Rexburg Police Department searched Lori and Alex's apartments November 27th, 2019. Search warrant served on the Daybell residence was June 9th on 2020. JJ and Tyler were taken to the Ada County Coroner's office June 10th, 2020. And the autopsy was conducted June 11th of 2020.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness at this time.
Oh
All right,
gosh,
thank you,
is there
Mr.
going to be
Wood.
cross?
Mr. Pryor, cross-examination.
Judge, would the court like me to start, or would you like to take a break, the lunch break?
Let's go ahead and get started with cross and go till it was in, please.
All right, real quick, just so you know, someone who commits 3 or more separate M's over a period of time with a psychological motive and cooling off a period between each one. Multiple victims, and then also time between doing it. And then the other one was certain regions, which I think is really weird, but it has to be within a certain region to be classified. I don't know. I don't get it, but yeah, that's what he had to have time to think about it, which he did because they are spaced out enough, and he's an animal, whatever. Sorry, I can fast forward all this. Here comes Pryor, huh? I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I don't know how I'm going to get through this one. I don't think I can listen to him talk.
We do know each other,
And
we've at least exchanged pleasantries a couple of times.
Yes, sir.
In the past.
Exchange pleasantries.
And I guess for purposes of this hearing, would you prefer that I refer to you as lieutenant or officer?
Lieutenant's fine.
Yeah, call him
Mr.
lieutenant.
Pryor, I apologize very much for the interruption. I wanted to confirm something on that last exhibit. It was entered by the court. Is that a demonstrative exhibit?
Show him
That's
some
what
damn
I
respect. Call him lieutenant.
Either as a demonstrative or
Okay, thank you, counsel. Apologies for the interruption.
You know what it
Judge,
is.
I'm also looking for the, oh, I found it. Right, wouldn't it? Right. Your role is actually to look at all the evidence, consider all the evidence. And once you've gathered all the evidence that you think is relevant to a case, what do you do with that evidence?
We follow the evidence.
Okay. And then once
Leave it to Ray to freaking pick my mood up a little bit. That's a stupid question. Oh man, I love you, Ray. Hold on, I gotta hear that one more time.
right, wouldn't it? Right. Your role is actually to look at all the evidence, consider all the evidence. And once you've gathered all the evidence that you think is relevant to a case, what do you do with that evidence?
We follow the evidence.
Oh, Ray, I needed this. I needed something, man. I needed that. I mean, what a stupid question. You gave him like, just so direct, just so dry.
Okay. And then once you follow the evidence and you establish a report or you've come to concluding your investigation, what do you do with that evidence that you concluded with?
We put a case together.
Okay. And then do you provide it to someone?
We provide it to the prosecutors.
Okay. So there's distinct roles as part of a criminal case. You'd agree with that, right?
Yes.
And your role is to conduct an investigation, correct?
Correct.
Look
Do
into
you
all.
hear? Okay, let me say something. And when we get to my testimony, I'll break it down a lot for you. Can you hear how? So, like psychologically, if I start speaking a certain weird way to you, and I get like a tone of aggression, it's going to pick up the pace, right? You can hear he sounds aggressive, and it almost seems that he's coming in attacking. The only response to it is just simple calmness, right? But you can just listen to how aggressive he comes off, trying to make it seem like he's caught you or like make you feel pressure. I think it's psychological.
Possible evidence of any kind, correct?
Correct.
And view
Yes,
the
condescending.
evidence, right?
Yes.
Not make any determination as to what that evidence means, but rather gather as much evidence as you think is relevant in your mind and put together a compilation of that evidence, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then at that point,
And
only at that point.
I absolutely effing hate leading someone to answer your question by ending by saying correct to give you an option of yes or no.
Do you provide it to the prosecuting attorney and they make a determination as to whether or not they will pursue charges against somebody? Do you understand? Is that the way you understand the process is supposed to work?
Yes.
Okay. And if you were not to follow that process, if you were not to follow what I just described, that wouldn't be appropriate. There's protocols. Do you agree with that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you should never blend the roles of a police officer with the role of a prosecuting attorney. You would agree with that, right?
Explain what you mean by blend.
Yeah,
Well,
what the hell
I
are you
mean,
talking about?
It's not a prosecutor's role to show up at an investigation when you're conducting an investigation and engage in part of the process of interviewing witnesses. You'd agree with that, right?
I've had prosecutors show up to certain investigations.
Okay, but that's not the norm, is it?
I think it depends on the investigation.
Okay, okay. So in other words, you think that it's appropriate that if a prosecutor is deciding whether to pursue charges against somebody, that they should also participate in the interviewing of these witnesses as part of that process. Is that what you're telling me?
I think it's important for a prosecutor to have all the information.
Well, doesn't that create a problem in your mind?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, let me talk to you a little bit about that. Because if you're doing an investigation and you're really remaining neutral as part of that investigation, right? You're not supposed to make judgments, correct?
Correct.
You're supposed to look at the evidence, gather all the evidence, and then make a determination of what evidence you want to submit to a prosecuting attorney, right?
Correct.
Do you ever get involved in the process of deciding whether someone should be charged or not?
What do you mean by that?
Yeah,
sir?
Well, after the evidence is all gathered, and after you've done your report as a police officer and put together all of the information, do you ever go over to the prosecutor's office and say, you know what, I put this evidence together, and you know what, I want to have a discussion with you about whether or not we want to charge this person? That wouldn't be appropriate, would it?
I'm going to object this argument.
It's the same.
Okay. But would it be appropriate for a prosecutor to interview witnesses and inject their personal opinion in those processes of interviewing witnesses? Would that be proper under any circumstances?
Yeah, I'm going to object this argument.
I'll overrule that objection.
And could you repeat the question again?
What the hell?
Yes.
That's not me. Whoa. Whoa,
Appropriate
Nate.
for a prosecutor to interview witnesses and inject their personal opinion in those.
What the hell was that, Nate? That was not me. That was the video we're watching. Sorry, I'm trying to fix the mic right now. It's just I feel like it's kind of close to the face, so I was just trying to fix it. Whatever. I appreciate you. Thank you.
In those processes of interviewing witnesses, would that be proper under the circumstances?
To interject their personal opinion?
Yeah.
I would say probably not.
Okay. So if you're engaging in name calling or making references to a person's character in a case, that would clearly be an inappropriate act, would it not?
Objection beyond the scope. Your
Name
Honor.
calling.
That's the same. And that's facts, not evidence.
What are you talking about?
Now, you spoke a little bit about this body cam issue. And you said that it was a policy that there's only one body cam among 7 of 10 of you as detectives. Is that right?
No, sir, I never once said it was policy. I just said there was only one body cam.
Oh, so-
Seven detectives.
So in other words, you share a body cam. It's not a policy within the department.
Correct.
Okay, is there a policy in the department about recording or trying to preserve a record when you're interviewing witnesses?
Yes.
Okay, what's that policy, sir?
When we conduct interviews at the police department.
Yeah.
Those interviews are recorded.
Okay. Now, what about if you're out in the field and you're conducting an interview? Is that to be recorded as well?
Let me tell you, if you want to know what grasping, what's the term? What's a good term for this? I don't know. Whatever. When you want to see somebody grabbing for thin air, okay? That's what we're going to say. Somebody absolutely grasping at straws, whatever it is, he does not have any evidence to fight against it. So instead of truly being able to defend Chad, his tactic is attack the person and make them look like they are missing gaps in weird questions like what color was your crap yesterday, right? I mean, the stuff that no one cares about, nobody needs to know, but that's basically what this is. It's absolutely nothing.
There's
Nonsense.
no policy that says it has to be recorded.
Okay. Do you carry a microphone as well, officer, other than a body cam?
No, not on my person, I don't.
Okay. Do you carry a cell phone? While you're doing that, that's issued by the county.
Do I keep the cell phone in my car? Yes,
I didn't ask you that. I said, do you carry a cell phone when you go out in the field?
on my person or in my vehicle?
Either one.
You
Might
don't
be.
want to start a fight though. Like, and that's the thing. Like, do you really want Ray to stand up?
And does that cell phone have the technology that allows you to record or photograph and videotape images?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So what I understand is on November 26, 2019, you were directed, or you directed your folks to go out to the Lori Vallow residence. Is that right?
What?
That's correct.
Okay, and you said that you were with Ron Ball. Is that who you said you were with?
At one time, yes, I was with a couple different officers that day.
Oh, so tell me who you were with on that day.
Why does that matter? Like, do you understand what we're doing here? Here's the case. Here's Rob putting out a solid factual case. Here is Pryor putting out loops and wild goose chases of absolutely nothing. I mean, nothing. Do you have a microphone? Right? Do you have a stick up your ass? I don't know.
Detective Dave Holt,
Okay,
Detective David Stubbs,
okay.
and Lieutenant Ron Ball.
So there were four of you who went out there to locate or to find out some information about what again? Remind me.
About the
Oh yeah, no,
whereabouts
you're
of J.
killing it,
Daybell.
bro.
Okay, and this was a concern that you had because you were contacted by another law enforcement agency expressing concern about the safety of a young child, right?
No, sir.
Okay, tell me what was the purpose?
It was a simple welfare
Everybody go donate to East Idaho News.
check.
Okay. And you went out on this welfare check and there were, if my math is correct, please correct me. Did all four of you detectives and lieutenants go out at the same time?
No, sir.
You went out at different times.
Myself and Dave Holt went out initially.
Okay, and then when did the other two officers show up?
When I called them based on the lies that I had been told.
Okay. And these lies that you've been told, at that point, you and Detective Hope, neither of you decided to bring a video camera, right?
That's correct.
And neither of you decided to wear a recorder to record any of the incidents that took place about these so-called lies, right?
That's correct.
And nobody took out their phone and recorded it or made a video or audio recording of the discussion with Mr. Daybell and Mr. Cox on November 26, 2019, right?
You want it? You begging for it? Shut up. IPS.
That's correct.
And even after you said these so-called lies, even after you discovered that, Mr. Daybell apparently told you something that you didn't think was true, at that point, did you instruct any of the officers who were coming to aid you? Maybe it's a good idea we should bring an audio with, or a video camera with us, or a mic to record some of these statements, because I have some concerns. Did you think about that?
We did that, sir.
Hold on.
I'm going with that. There was an objection and sustaining the objection.
Oh, this is blurry.
So, strike the answer. You can ask another question, Mr. Pryor.
And it was Detective Stubbs who had the video
What
cam, is
is
that
this
right?
camera
Sure.
feed?
And that was when you video cammed Miss Vallow, about when you had contact eventually with Miss Vallow, is that what the video camera that you're talking about?
I didn't have contact with Miss Vallow.
Now, I'm a little confused about something, and maybe you can clear this up. You said that you asked Mr. Daybell first about whether he had Lori Vallow's phone number, correct?
No, sir. I didn't contact Mr. Daybell until after I contacted Alex Cox.
Okay. At some point, did you ask for Lori Vallow's phone number for Mr. Daybell?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And at no point did you ever make a threat to him saying you're going to turn this phone number over to us, right?
No, sir.
At no point did any other officer walk up to him and say, if you don't turn this phone number over, you're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble. That never took place to your knowledge, right?
That's correct.
Okay. But then after that, you're saying, at first he said, I'm not going to give you the phone number. And then out of the blue, he decides to give you the phone number.
Objection, this states the facts and evidence.
Okay. Then subsequent to that, he
Hold on,
decides,
Mr. Pryor. When there's an objection, I'm gonna rule on it before you launch into another question. So the objection is sustained.
subsequent to that, he decides to give you the phone number. Is that right?
Can you repeat the question, please?
I'll go back over the analysis here.
Thank you.
Your testimony is that Mr. Daybell refused to give you the phone number at first, correct?
That's correct.
And that was an adamant refusal. He said, no, I don't know what her phone number is, right?
That's correct.
And then without any further prompting by the police officers
Why is it so
or any
great?
encouragement by law enforcement, he shows back up and gives you the phone number.
Is it just the feed? Whoa.
number later, right?
All right, well,
Objection is misstating the facts of the
Well, I'm
evidence.
trying to
Sorry, guys.
establish the facts, Judge.
The objection's overruled. If the witness has an answer, you may answer.
it looks like
You
it's
say he showed back up. He never left when I originally asked him.
Okay,
I had to ask him twice to get the phone number.
okay. And how much time passed between the first request and the second request?
Roughly a minute.
Okay. So without any prompting by the police, he asked him for the phone number. He denied, and then within 60 seconds, he said, "Oh, here's the phone number."
there
Is that what
he
your testimony is?
is. Freaking Ray in the house, man. He's not just a peach, brother. He's going at you. And I don't know how the frick you didn't lose it. I don't know. I almost lost it, and I remember checking myself because it was turning into an argument with him. And he's just going at you like, "Hey, Ray, did you remember that when you were in the car, you know, how many people were there? Okay, well, when you got out of the car, how many people were here, and where did they walk, and what did they do? Oh, you don't remember that? Oh. Like he caught you in something. I don't understand that. I just want to take this moment, since you are here, Ray, I don't know if you are still this second, to just say in front of everybody again, what an absolute hero you are. Thank you for your service, for all of your guys' service. Watching this hurt my heart for you, and for all of you, for all you've done. And I am so just grateful for you and all you guys. But I don't know. I just want there to be a public acknowledgement for you right now for what you did for my family. And thank you. Thank you for doing that and putting up with all of this for the sake of justice for all of them. Thank you.
When Detective Hope started walking towards us and I re-asked him again, that's when he gave me the number.
So you had to ask him twice. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Now I'm going to kind of bounce around a little bit, okay? Please bear with me, okay? You made a comment about supposed paintball guns, and then if I misquote your testimony, please correct me, okay? You said something about a supposed paintball gun incident with Tammy Daybell, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you later on decided that it was the words you used were a shooting. Is that the words you used?
Probably.
Well, you were just here testifying a few minutes ago and just used the word shooting when Mr. Wood talked to you about that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as part of your investigation, you got a chance to look at all the evidence, right? In this case, you got access to almost all the evidence in this case,
That's
right?
correct.
And have you gone through all the evidence in this case?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and did you look at evidence of facts and circumstances surrounding the Tammy Daybell incident on October 9th?
Yes.
Okay. And Judge, just bear with me.
Your Honor, if he's going to be showing evidence digitally, you'll throw our screen back up.
Yeah.
What if we go WWE SmackDown and it's me and Ray and the defense? Hell in a Cell too. Drop the cage.
Not sure I'm going to be up there.
You're going
Now, I
nowhere.
would represent to you that we previously stipulated to the admission of a number of exhibits in this case. And one of the exhibits is exhibit number 16. Okay? And the parties that previously exhibited, Judge, we've already looked at it's already been exhibited. So what I'm going to do is show you exhibit 16. Okay?
And this is one already admitted.
It's already been admitted, Judge, previously. Now, you talked about facts, and you used the word shooting is what you used, right? With Tammy Daybell?
Right.
And you don't believe that Tammy Daybell was shot at with anything other than a paintball gun, do you?
Objection, relevance.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Overruled.
Whoa,
You don't
Nate,
believe that Tammy Daybell was
hey,
shot with
look.
anything other out with anything other than a paintball gun, do you?
Yes, I do, sir.
Okay, and what do you base that on?
The evidence through our investigation.
Okay, and part of your investigation is did you look at the Tammy Daybell evidence that she provided to your office?
To my office or Fremont County?
Fremont County.
I did.
Okay, and one of the pieces of evidence is exhibit number 16. Judge, I don't see it going on.
All right, council, if you'd like, we can take a lunch break or we can keep moving on here from that.
Here we are.
Break.
Okay.
This man breathe. Did we not go to lunch?
Okay, and officer, I'd have you turn to the screen and see if you can read the screen. Just read it. Not out loud, just to yourself.
He's so condescending. Like, I am trying to understand tactics here. I'm trying to be as objective and not take it personal, because I understand it's his job. Like, we know that he did not pick this up so he could go and like, he loves Chad Daybell and they keep in contact. Like, this is his job. Okay. So to be as objective as I can possibly be, tactically, he just seems so aggressive. And I think he thinks that gives him an edge. I don't know.
Okay. And I would represent to you that this is a email from Tammy Daybell to her friends in the Salem 3rd Ward of her church. Okay? And would you start with the word something and read the email to me?
Something really weird just happened. I want you to know so you can watch out. I'd gotten home and parked in our front driveway. As I was getting stuff out of the back seat, a guy wearing a ski mask suddenly standing at the back of my car with a paintball gun. He shot at me several times, although I don't think it was loaded. I yelled for Chad and he ran around the back of the house. I have no idea what his motive was, and he never spoke, even after I asked him several times what he, though.
Okay. So, and do you see the date on this email? It's just about friends there.
I'm gonna object to this being characterized as an email.
I'll sustain that.
Okay.
You want to clarify this?
So,
Sorry, what type of
I'm going to do this in the most respectful way possible because I'm trying to just understand. Because I've never heard, I don't know if this didn't really get touched on in Lori's that I remember. At least this clear. So Alex put the ski mask on the 9th and was right there behind her and tried. I don't understand. I just didn't know that.
communication it is?
Well, it's a communication to the friends of the church, and I think it's a text
I'm
message.
sorry.
I believe it's a text message. Judge, I may have stated that it was an email.
Okay.
My apologies. So this text message went out to all of the friends of the Salem 3rd Ward. It's an LDS ward over in the town of Salem, right?
I can't answer
I don't
that.
know. You know where the town of Salem is, right?
I do.
And that's a town that's close to Rexford?
Correct.
Okay. And obviously, you can't answer that about the ward or anything like that, but obviously the term ward would suggest that it's some sort of religious group of folks they're talking to, right?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, I'm still
But
listening.
this email doesn't say
One
that
sec. I'm still here.
she was shot with a gun, but there's even a mention of the gun. The email talks about a paintball.
Again, I'm gonna object to characterization of this as an email. Needs to be
Text
short
message, Judge, it's gonna
I'm
be.
sorry. We'll speak for
Yeah.
please.
When there's an objection, strike again. Gotta have time to get it on the record, make a ruling, and then respond, please. So sustain, this states the evidence.
Text message.
I'm also gonna object to this being described as a text message. There needs to be some foundation for what this evidence actually is.
Judge, I don't need a foundation. This has been admitted as an exhibit. This is
All right.
it.
I'll overrule that objection. Jury can review it in the format it came in with the screen capture.
So at any rate, this message from Ms. Daybell to the people in the 3rd Ward doesn't say that it was a gun, does it?
Does say it's a gun, just says it's a paintball gun.
Oh, it says it's a paintball gun. You're right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
It doesn't say any other gun, though, right? That there's any confusion about that, right?
Not in this email or text.
Okay. Did you also have an occasion to look at I'll be bringing that up later, the search engine from Tammy Daybell's account?
No, I did not look at the search engine for Tammy's.
Were you aware that, and I'm gonna hack his name, but one of the officers, Officer K, whatever his name is, Officer K, was provided email, search information that Tammy Daybell engaged in regarding paintball guns in a picture. Were you aware of that?
Objection calls for speculation.
I'm asking whether he's aware of it.
Overruled.
Are you aware of it?
I was aware that he was provided information. I can't tell you exactly what information he was.
Okay, we'll get to that in another day. But did you also listen to the 911 call that was made regarding the paintball incident?
I did.
Okay, and there was no mention of a gun in that 911 call, right?
No,
The mention in the 911 call is that someone took a shot at me or tried to take a shot with a paintball gun, right?
that's correct.
Okay, so the suggestion today that it was a gun is based on your own hunch, right?
No, sir.
Well, do you have the gun?
I have evidence of Google searches done by Alex Cox around that time.
Okay. Do you have information as to where Alex Cox was at the time of this alleged shooting?
Yes, sir.
You do have evidence of that?
He was at the Daybell residence earlier that day.
I didn't ask you on the day of the Daybell residence, at the time of this shooting. Do you recall when the shooting took place?
I believe it was maybe 8 in the evening, maybe.
And let's clarify this, because the data that you have regarding him being at the residence was much earlier in the day, right?
That's correct.
And you don't have any data that shows that Alex Cox's phone dinged or any other communication device that Alex Cox had was at the location of the house at the time of this paintball incident, do you?
At the time, no, sir.
Okay. And so at this point, the information you're talking about is there's some Google searches by Alex Cox, correct?
That's correct.
And the information is that you've decided to not take into consideration Tammy Daybell's own statement about a paintball gun?
Objection, misstates his testimony.
Sustained.
So what other information are you leaning on to suggest that this was anything but a paintball gun?
The Google searches performed by Alex Cox talked about shooting through Dodge Dakota.
Okay. And I appreciate that. And
All right, guys, I'm
that
still
would
here.
be one of Chad and Tammy Daybell's vehicles. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Were you aware of who was driving the Dodge Dakota at the time that incident took place?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you talk to any of the family members, any of the 4 children about who was actually the driver of this Dodge Dakota that Alex Cox was trying to figure out a way to shoot through?
We attempted to contact those children and they wouldn't speak with us.
Okay, so you don't know whether Chad Daybell or Tammy Daybell were driving that Dodge Dakota, right?
That's correct.
So the reality is that Tammy Daybell was driving the Dodge Dakota. It sounds like Alex Cox had something for Tammy Daybell. Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm not suggesting that. I'm just simply stating what Mr. Cox's Google searches were around the time of that shooting.
Okay, and you're basing those Google searches on your position that you believe this was a shooting, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so if Chad Daybell was driving the Dodge Dakota during this time, and he was the primary driver and maybe the only driver, would that mean then you would be looking at whether Alex Cox was trying to shoot Chad Daybell?
Chad Daybell didn't call in a 911 call and said he was shot at. Tammy Daybell.
Yeah, but Tammy Daybell called in a 911 call about a paintball gun,
Carter Branson.
and it was a paintball gun. And we'll have Officer Cannon talk about that, and we'll listen to the 911 call.
Objection, that's not a question.
Well, the question is,
Mr. Pryor, again, you've got to give me an opportunity to rule an objection. If it is sustained, let's just argue it's not a question. You
He's
can ask
very
another question.
interested.
the shooting and the call that was taking place.
He is
Was he
very,
right?
very interested in the microphone. Carter Branson, you just can't have that. Okay. I'm trying to listen and pay attention, I promise.
Reference to a paintball gun incident, wasn't it?
Can you repeat the question, sir? I couldn't hear you.
The call that was made regarding this incident was a 911 call about a paintball incident, wasn't it? They used the words paintball in the 911 call.
That's correct.
We'll move on.
That's
Now, we previously talked about, and Judge, I don't know when you want to stop. I've got a ways to go.
look.
I think this probably is a good time for the lunch break even time. So we will take our lunch recess. That'll be an hour. We'll plan on coming back on for additional testimony around 10:15 after 1.
All rise, please.
All right, we're gonna skip over lunch. It's a long lunch. Oh wow!
Judge, would you prefer I
He
wait?
said, "Guess what?
It's up to you. You can go take the podium if you want.
Guess what?" He said, "Guess what?" You saying hi to yourself? He's saying hi to himself.
Or you might adjust the table.
Okay, I'm trying to fast forward. Man, Ray went through it, bro. 2 days straight, hour on hour. you say hi?
All rise, please.
Yeah. What are you saying? You saying anything? Whoa, he's going for a dive. He's going for the keyboard because it's got lights. Oh. Why don't you sit right here? Okay, sit down right there. Yep, there you go. That's so cool.
Thank you. Please be seated.
I'm still listening, I promise. I'm gonna turn my mic off though because it's loud.
All right, we are back on the record on KCR 2221-1623, State of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell. The defense is conducting cross-examination of the witness, Detective Hermosillo. Mr. Pryor, if you'd like to continue, you may.
Officer Hermosillo, I'm going to take my time. I probably didn't too much coffee this morning, so I avoided that over the lunch hour. Now I think I'm okay. Let's hope so. And I think the judge has admonished me enough at this point that I think I got the point. So we're going to go a little slower if you don't mind. Yeah. So I want to go back to the paint bullets. And you said that one of the pieces of evidence was that Alex Cox had Googled a black Dodge Dakota, correct?
He Googled what caliber it would take to shoot through the windshield of Dodge Dakota.
Was it the windshield?
Who did you
Yes, it
think
was.
that answer was gonna be on Google? Seriously. Did you really think that was gonna be like that was gonna be something that okay, it's going to hell in here. Carter Branson is destroying the desk. I mean, he's grabbed everything and more. And I found out just as a lighthearted moment. Okay, there we go. Just drop that. On the more lighthearted side of this, that boys are way more aggressive as babies than girls. A lot more aggressive. It's just like this, and he breathes hard because he's like gonna do something. Okay, brother. I think we've had a little much. All right.
Judge, there's previously been an admission of Exhibit 34 by stipulation. That's Homer J. Maximus with a reference to the state as well. And we'll get back to that in a minute. But there was at least a reference at some point that there was going to be trying to find out what kind of caliber it would take to penetrate a Dodge Dakota vehicle, some windshield or otherwise, correct? Correct. And you took that as a threat, as a means of saying that's why Alex Cox was trying to kill Tammy Daybell.
That Google search, along with him being at that residence that same day earlier,
Okay,
and the incident involving Tammy Daybell.
okay, okay. Okay, and that's what drew you to that conclusion, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So we don't know who was driving the Dodge Dakota regularly, do we? Because you didn't speak with the kids, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And we
Sorry,
do know
this is just hard because like it feels like I'm not trying to be like cut in on this because obviously this is really important and like listening to what happened with Tammy is a big deal, but he's a nut job. I love him, but he's nuts. He's nuts. This is the director of IPS right here, Carter Branson. There's your badge. Can you say, guess what? Guess what? Guess what? He says, guess what? I guess he doesn't want to right now. Okay, all right, okay, Mr. Aggressive, here. Okay, there you go, yep, go, good, perfect.
On the day that you said Chad Daybell, at least you were alleging that Chad Daybell fled sometime in June 9th. Is that right?
Objection mistakes the testimony.
Well, try to clarify that. High rate of speed, Chad Daybell left the area. Is that fair?
That's fair.
That's what you're stating, correct?
That's correct.
And in the vehicle that he was in, do you know that was the Dodge Dakota that supposedly he was fleeing in?
It was not Dodge Dakota he was fleeing in.
Okay, what vehicle was he fleeing in?
I can't recall off the top of my head. We have it inbound, but it wasn't the Dodge Dakota.
Okay. Okay. So there were two vehicles, an Equinox and a Dodge Dakota. Which one was it?
Which day, sir?
On June 9th, which, there are two vehicles that the Daybell zone, the Equinox and the Dodge Dakota. Which one was it that was allegedly fleeing?
I just did. I couldn't recall the vehicle that was arrested.
Okay, that's fair, that's fair. So, just to recap, we know that there was a Google search by Alex Cox on his Homer J. Maximus account, correct?
Correct.
And that there was an allegation that someone was, or that Alex Cox was trying to figure out what type of caliber to at least shoot at a black Dodge Dakota, correct?
Correct.
Okay. We don't know who the target was, or who the target was in that Dodge Dakota, but we know it was someone who owned the vehicle, obviously, right?
Well, I would assume so.
Okay, okay. Now, that's what you based on the fact that you thought that there was an attempt on Tammy Daybell that day, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, when you read that email from the Homer J, or the search from the Homer J. Maximus account, did you take into consideration the date of when that search took place?
I did.
And when was that?
I can't recall. I have to refer to my notes.
Okay. I'm gonna take the liberty of helping you out a little bit.
He grabbed the mic and said, "Oh wow." He put his feet up on the desk. This man does not care. He does what he wants when he wants. He says, "Wow." Bye, Bubby boy.
At least I think I can help.
He said, bye. 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 He's so handsome. He destroyed the desk. You want to say hi or no? They can't see you, so they come all the way to like where I'm at.
There.
Okay, it's a up and down day, guys. I told you it was a crazy day. Okay, love you. All right, give me a second because just a lot has happened in the last couple hours. There's been probably one of the weirdest. It's just up and down, like life. Like it's just nuts. It's just nuts. Okay, I'm re-listening to what's going on here.
Go ahead.
Alex Cox Googles how to make an AR-15 function in cold weather.
Okay.
There's some other Googles if you'd like to pull it up.
Well, I've got those, and we're going to go through those, and we'll have an opportunity to do that. But
And that was the night Tammy was shot at.
okay, and he Googled that night, right?
That's correct.
What time of night was that? Do you recall?
I have to look at my notes.
Okay. Okay, but he also had a habit of Googling a lot of things, right?
I can't answer that.
Well, you know about the Hannibal Lecter thing, right?
No, sir.
Okay.
Oh, don't pull this stupid shit out of your hat. So Alex liked Hannibal Lecter. We've talked about weird stuff that Alex was into. Alex was a weird person in general. I've tried to explain this before. Like he was just an oddball, and this has nothing to do with just movies or anything. He was just uncomfortable to be around in general. We've had this discussion. And he's just creepy. He just really did have that vibe, and he was the creepy uncle of the group. And of course they're gonna try to put like watching the strategy to make it Alex and Lori and not Chad is seriously despicable, because you freaking know the evidence is so clear. Stop.
Well, before we get to the Hannibal Lecter thing, let's talk a little bit about some of the other searches from Homer J. Maximus.
I got a funny text. On cue text. Sorry, this is like I'm gonna be so honest with you guys right now. This has been one of the just craziest days. Like, just so much going on in such a short amount of time. Like, from when we left AutoZone to now has been unbelievable roller coaster of a day.
That's tactical cutting moves, right?
Correct.
See that one?
All right, Mr. Pryor, you're gonna have to stay by that microphone or we don't pick up what you said.
Okay, Judge. October 22nd, 2019.
So if you'd like to
Sharpening
know why he's Homer J. Maximus, I don't know what J stands for because I don't even know his middle name. Alex douchebag Cox. I don't know his middle name, to be honest with you. Homer could be a reference. He loves Simpsons, so that would be that. Maximus is the Gladiator movie. So Maximus Meridius, or whatever his name is, which is a phenomenal movie. But that's where that's from. That's why it's Maximus. So those are obviously, I guess, two influential characters. The Gladiator and freaking a yellow dude from a cartoon is his idols. I don't know.
Knife sharpener, right?
Correct.
Okay, what was the date of Tammy Daybell's death?
October 19th, 2019.
You already know that.
Okay, so 3 days after Tammy Daybell dies, Alex Cox is still looking at sharpening swords and a block knife sharpener 3 days after Tammy Daybell's death. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
If Alex was the one who just out of his own intent went after Tammy, it was Chad's responsibility to protect her. And then you wouldn't go get married fucking a few weeks later. So let's put that out there. How about that? One swear jar. One allowed a day. Like a PG-13 movie, I get one a day.
4 days after Tammy Daybell's died. 15 facts about the silence of the lambs you didn't know. Call that one?
No, sir.
Okay.
Here we
And
go.
that was 4 days after Tammy dies, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, when you searched, and I believe it was 107, was that the unit that we found all of the knives and the guns?
No, sir, that was 175.
Okay, 175, that was Lori Vallow's unit then, right?
Why are the subtitles off?
That was the unit that Lori Vallow lived in, but Alex Cox was on the tenant agreement.
Okay, okay. And your testimony previously, I believe that was a day or so ago, there were a significant number of weapons found, right?
That's right.
Did you do a check on all of those weapons to see who they belonged to?
I personally did not do a check on all those weapons.
What about the knives or the ammunition? Did you check and see who those belonged to?
I'm not quite sure how to check on who the knives
don't
belong
either.
to.
I don't either.
Ray, you are just a gem. You're saving this whole. You're just making the mood in here a lot.
I'm just
easier
asked
to
because
palate.
are you presuming that the owner of those knives and guns and ammunition is Alex Cox?
They were found amongst his belongings, so I
Okay.
presume that is.
Now, we talked about this before.
Oh, why don't we start assuming that they're Chad Daybell's? How about that? Is that what you want? Let's assume they're your clients because they were in his stuff. It's not that hard. If it's in his house and a bin with his stuff, what else do you do? There's no serial number on a knife.
When I was doing some blood urinative objection, that a lot of those items were items, the knives and the ammunition were items that you pulled out of bags and displayed for purposes of for lack of a better word, staging them for your photo op, right?
That's right.
Okay, okay. But again, all of the ammunition, all of the weapons, all of the knives, and the ski mask, that was found in Alex Cox's, at or near Alex Cox's belongings, right?
Correct.
So I don't want you to speculate, but you're presuming that Alex Cox owned all of those, right?
Leading.
That's correct.
There's no indication that that Lori Vallow had several guns and knives and things like that. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay.
I got to stop and say happy birthday to Ray's daughter. And drive safe, brother.
I want to switch gears a little bit.
And just so you guys know, I'm not crazy. Ray's in the chat. I'm not just saying that out of nowhere.
And I want to talk to you a little bit about Charles Vallow. Okay?
I know he's going to say
And
something
I assume you've been
He's gonna say
communicating
something so stupid. I know it.
with the folks down in Arizona about all of that. Is that fair?
Yes,
Okay, so you're well versed in the facts as it relates to Charles Vallow, correct?
No, I wouldn't say well versed. I know the basics.
Okay, but are part of the basics to know where the court proceedings are and who was charged with what?
You would have to be more specific.
Okay, and do you know currently who's charged in the death of Charles Vallow?
Yes,
Okay, who is that?
Lori Mello.
Okay, are you aware that the prosecuting attorney down in Maricopa County issued a
Objection to your side.
Thank
That's
you.
the same.
Thank you.
I'm asking whether he's aware, not whether he.
Well, by the time you say what he's aware of, then all the information's coming through his statement.
Okay. Are you aware that Chad Daybell is not charged with anything in Maricopa County relating to Charles Vallow?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Brandon Boudreaux's next. Who's been charged in the allegations against Brandon Boudreaux?
He's gonna say it's not his client. Oh wow.
Lori Mello.
Is there anybody else?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, and you're also aware that Chad Daybell has not been charged in the allegations as they relate to Brandon Boudreaux, is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Now, if Alex Cox was still alive, the suggestion seems to be that he would have been charged with both of those offenses. Would that be fair?
Objection calls for speculation.
It's the same.
Okay. Do you have any information as to who killed Charles Vallow?
Yes,
Who do you believe killed Charles Vallow?
Alex Cox.
Okay. Who do you believe took the shot at Brandon Boudreaux?
Alex Cox.
Okay, thank you. Now, did you have the occasion to look into the history of Alex Cox a little bit?
Briefly,
Okay, were you aware of an incident that occurred in, let me get the date right, August 5th of 2007?
you'd have to be more specific about what occurred on the date, sir.
On that date, there was an allegation that there was an assault on a Joseph Ryan.
That's correct.
You're familiar with that, is that right?
Yes.
And in 2007, is there any indication that Chad Daybell knew Lori Vallow in 2007?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. And in that incident, are you aware that Alex Cox committed aggravated assault on Joseph Ryan?
Your Honor, at this point, I'm going to object to relevance.
Exactly.
I think we're outside the scope of what's happening
Exactly.
in this case, Mr. Pryor.
Judge, can I approach, please, counsel?
Sure.
No.
Outside
Say
line.
no. Say no. No approach. Get back to it.
Testified that I didn't go through these records, sir.
But you can testify that it just went to this.
Correct. I can testify you didn't answer.
Now, when you searched Lori Vallow's residence, there weren't any clothes in there. In the residence that she had hanging up on hangers, right?
That's correct.
Do you have any information to suggest that she had mailed or shipped her clothes to another location?
No, I don't.
Okay. And then you.
So your defense, let me think for 2 seconds. Your defense is that Chad Daybell has no idea who he married. He married the wrong woman at the wrong time, and she set him up. And it's all Alex and Lori. I'm just really trying to understand what is your bigger picture narrative that you're pitching. That's all I want to understand. I know you're trying to pin it on them. That's simple, but the details matter. Like what are you trying to explain to the jury?
At the time, you're aware that Mr. Daybell obviously was married to Ms. Vallow at that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And is it your allegation that Mr. Daybell left on the 26th or 27th and also tried to avoid contact with law enforcement?
I can't answer why Mr. Daybell left. All I can answer to is I wasn't able to get a hold of him after that date.
Okay, and after that date, did you happen to check credit cards or phone records or anything like that to try to locate him?
Again, sir, I didn't go through Mr. Daybell's phone records.
Okay. Did you gain any information that Mr. Daybell was going on a vacation around the 26th or 27th of the end of the month?
We later learned that Mr. Daybell was in California.
Okay. And later learned that he was in California, and that was about the time of the 28th or 29th of November. Is that right?
I have to refer to my notes.
Okay. And were you aware?
Sounds right.
Okay. And again, maybe the coffee's still affecting me. I'll try to slow down. Okay. But you're also aware that Mr. Daybell on the 28th being at Knott's Berry Farms, right?
Correct.
And that was a family vacation with his kids, correct?
I can't testify to who was there.
Okay. So Mr. Daybell wasn't fleeing. He was on the 26th or 27th of the month when Lori Vallow's closet was empty. Mr. Daybell was on a family vacation.
I can't testify that he wasn't fleeing. I can testify that I knew he was in California at a later date.
Okay. And you know that later date was the end of November, right?
Close to that date, sir, yes.
Okay. And you know that subsequent to that, he went on a trip to Hawaii after that, right?
Yes, he was in Hawaii after that.
Right. So if I understand the testimony, Mr. Daybell was at some point after the 26th, went on a planned family vacation at Knott's Berry Farms, right?
I can't testify it was a planned family vacation.
Okay, all right, that's okay. And then subsequent to that, he then went to Hawaii on a trip to Hawaii where there was some contact with you folks, correct?
Yeah, we made contact with Mr. Daybell in Hawaii.
Okay. And how is it that you found it out that he was in Hawaii again? Remind me, please.
Through tips that came in through our hotlines that we had set up and cell phone data.
And this is just a question, I'm kind of curious. Did maybe you just look at plane records?
Are you asking?
Yeah,
if I-
I'm asking, did you guys look
I'm
at?
sorry. I can't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, I'm sorry, sir.
Can you repeat the question, please?
At any time, did you just take the initiative to look at plane records?
So each officer was tasked with different things.
Okay.
We did have an officer that looked through financial, and I assume he did look through plan records and credit cards.
Okay. And
The
Mr.
whole
Daybell
time, the evidence showed that Chad was talking about how miserable he was the entire time.
was flying on a commercial plane or traveling from Boise to Knott's Berry Farm. on a commercial plane.
Wait. Was this the vacation that Lori went on with Chad's family after Tammy? Because they all went to the park together, didn't they? Like a big happy family.
For experience and knowledge of these things, there would have been a record of that, right?
That's correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. Now, I'm going to switch gears again a little bit, okay? Please forgive me because I just want to make sure I hit all of these subjects. And before we go there, I want to make sure you did get a subpoena from my office, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you've acknowledged that you've accepted that, correct?
Correct.
And you were kind enough to contact my office and agree that if I need you to come back, you'll come back at a time that's suitable for both of us. Is that fair?
Yes.
Was there anything else discussed during that phone conversation?
Dade said I couldn't make it back.
Okay, and that was because, and we're not going to get into this to let everybody know, because it's nobody else's business, but you have an obligation of some sort, and I've acknowledged that, and we're going to work on that. Is that fair?
Objection elements? Sustained.
Okay. Now, as part of your investigation, and I want to be specific to JJ Vallow, okay? The last known sign of life was the 22nd. Is that fair?
The last
time that they someone
life
known
was September 22nd of 2019.
Right, okay. And the last, at least proof of life for Tylee Ryan was September 8th,
Of 2019.
2019. So I'll do the math in my head if I can. There's 15 days difference between Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. Is that correct? For the last proof of living a life. Respect.
Roughly.
15 days. You think JJ died on around the 9th of September, 8th or 9th of September, and Tylee was the 22nd or 23rd. Is that fair?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Now, as part of the investigation, you looked into where JJ Vallow was on the 22nd of September, correct?
Correct.
And on the evening of the 22nd of September, he was at Lori Vallow's home.
That's correct.
Okay. And present in that home, staying in that home, were Lori Vallow, correct?
Correct.
At least on the 22nd, JJ Vallow was there, correct?
That's correct.
Melanie Gibb was there, correct?
Correct.
And David Warwick was there.
Correct.
Okay. And on that evening, they were conducting some sort of a religious podcast, the three of them, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the allegation is that JJ was acting up and went into the care of Alex Cox.
Correct.
And then Alex took JJ into a separate apartment, correct?
On which day?
On the 22nd?
He took him to apartment 107. Correct.
Right. His apartment or whoever was on the lease for that apartment, right?
That's right.
Okay. And then the last time that anybody saw JJ was later that evening, is that fair?
Yes.
And that was when Alex Cox was carrying JJ Vallow into the apartment of Lori, David, and Melanie Gibb, right?
Correct.
Who were all staying there together, correct?
That's right.
And then somewhere at that point, whether it was at that point or subsequent to that evening, that's when you believe that JJ Vallow was murdered.
That's correct.
Okay. But the next morning, there were three people in the apartment at that time early in the morning, correct?
Objection foundation.
Well, do you know who was in the apartment early that morning on the 23rd?
Hold on, it's prior. There's an objection, I think that would sustain.
Yeah, prior, slow
Do you have any
down.
knowledge of who was in the apartment on the 23rd of September, the morning of that morning of 2019?
Yes.
And who was there?
David Warwick, Melanie Gibb, and Rory Vallow.
Okay, and at that point, you believe that JJ Vallow was already dead?
I can't testify to the time, but I believe he was killed.
Okay, but then within 2 hours later from that morning, you believe that he was buried on Chad Daybell's property, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Even though you have acres.
You had an occasion.
When you freaking go to the... If you Google Earth it, it's on the effing street on both sides. So from the entire property is visible from the street that turns right. And if you go straight past the house, pretty much the entire property is visible. That's why it's so insane. Because you would notice someone there. And you knew exactly what it's so stupid. It's so stupid. But even if you try to just like say, okay, they just buried him on their property, that's still a crime because there's no way you didn't know. So
To talk with
it's
Melanie Gibb and David Warwick, is that right?
That's right.
Now, you did it a couple of times, if I recall. One by phone, right? With Melanie Gibb?
Correct.
And that wasn't recorded, was it?
It was recorded.
It was recorded?
With her attorney?
No. No, I'm talking about a regular phone call with Melanie Gibb, without an attorney.
I don't remember a phone call.
Okay, all right, we're gonna revisit that maybe at another date, but that's fine. But you also went down to Provo, Utah. And I'm going off of memory, but it was Provo, Utah on the 4th of June of 2020, is that right?
Sure.
Now, at that point, you were interviewing both David Warwick and Melanie Gibb about information they had about these allegations, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And who else was there?
Myself, Lieutenant Ball, and Prosecutor Wood.
Okay, so the prosecuting attorney, Mr. Wood, right there, and a lieutenant that you work with and yourself drove down to Provo, Utah.
Correct.
And was there anybody from any local law enforcement there as well? No. Okay, now there was an effort to record that conversation, is that right?
Yes, it was recorded.
Okay, was the entire thing recorded?
I believe the very beginning wasn't. The recorder malfunctioned or something happened that was recorded, but the majority of that interview was recorded.
The majority of it was recorded.
That's correct.
So if I represent to you that there was 22 minutes of recording on that interview, does that sound about the length of what the interview was with Melanie Gibb?
No.
It doesn't?
No.
Okay. Would it be helpful if you were able to listen to that recording and view that recording to refresh your recollection?
Refresh my recollection.
About the length of time that recording was?
It should have been longer than 22 minutes. We were there longer than 22 minutes.
How long were you there?
Roughly,
speculation.
say about
He's forcing him to
an hour
speculate.
maybe.
Okay.
That's speculation. He's forcing him to give a timeline of exactly how long something was when he can't verify it. I don't know how objections work, but I would object every time too against him. When he was talking to me, I almost told him 3 times
So
irrelevant.
your testimony is that it should have been longer than 21 or 22 minutes, is that right?
That's correct.
Would it surprise you to learn that, well, you don't know exactly how long that interview took place, though, right?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the exact time.
And you don't know the length of the recording itself, is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay, and in order to determine that, it would be helpful for you to refresh your recollection by listening to the interview, and it would be able to answer those questions for you. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Your Honor, I'm going to object beyond the scope.
We're way beyond the scope of your red, counsel, if also the officer's going to review that, and I permit it, of course, it's not going to be because it's the jury. So also saying the objection on beyond the scope.
Judge, are you talking about beyond the scope of direct examination?
Yes.
Okay, then officer, we'll revisit that at another time, okay? And we'll leave that for another opportunity.
He told you to, hey, he told you to call him lieutenant. Show him some gosh dang respect.
When I call you back. Now, on the day that JJ Vallow was found on June 9th, okay? The pictures and the testimony you showed.
You went out of your way to ask Ray, hey, what would you prefer to be called? Officer, lieutenant. And he's like, lieutenant's fine. And then you go to do officer, that's just disrespectful. It's a disrespectful tactic. If it wasn't planned, but still, I don't know.
That he was wearing red pajamas and some Skechers socks. Is that right?
Sure.
Okay. Do you have a recollection of what J.J. Vallow was wearing based on your investigation when he was carried by Alex Cox from Alex Cox's apartment to the upstairs of Lori Vallow's apartment?
Objections, calls for hearsay.
It doesn't necessarily call for hearsays, wondering what he observed him wearing, if you know, so
Yes.
that's how we roll on that.
Tell me if you know the answer.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. Do you know whether or not J.J. Vallow was wearing red pajamas when he was carried upstairs by Alex Cox?
Sir, I don't know the answer to that
Okay.
question.
Just answer that.
And Judge, I think at this point, I'm going to save the rest of my questioning for when I call the officer back in my case in chief. That's okay.
Very well. You can do that. I'll conclude the cross-examination then. This time we'll begin with redirect from the state. Mr. Wood.
Please give Ray a break. It's been 2 days straight. Is this whole day Ray too? Brother. Oh my gosh. Get down on the floor and do 50 push-ups for being disrespectful to the lieutenant.
Your Honor, may I have you handed States Exhibit 31? Yes, and States Exhibit 30. Detective, you testified earlier about when you first met Al or Chad Daybell.
Correct.
Who was he with?
Alex Cox.
Did he look afraid of Alex Cox?
No.
Get him, Rob. Sick him. I love that. I love how simple to pick apart all of this is. Oh, yeah. So when they first stumble on and go to question, Alex and Chad are together in the truck and both lying for Lori.
Chad Daybell's brother-in-law, correct? When you met him?
That's correct.
Detective, you were asked about your beliefs. Is that fair? In cross-examination, you were asked about your beliefs?
Yes.
Let's talk about your investigation. When you started your investigation,
Your guys' comments are out of pocket sometimes.
what was the scope of your investigation?
Initially, it was to find the Jeep from Gilbert, Arizona.
And then it expanded, correct?
Correct.
And then what was the scope of your investigation?
To find the whereabouts of JJ and Tylee.
And all this time, you're collecting information from various sources.
That's correct.
How about Chad's blessing to Alex? How about that? How about we pull that right now to see if Chad was afraid of Alex while he was giving him a blessing?
Your Honor, may I publish States Exhibit 31?
Yes.
Detective, you were asked about your beliefs, correct?
That's correct.
And you were asked about your beliefs regarding, I'm going to call it the paintball incident. Is that fair?
Yes.
And when I'm talking about that, to your understanding, what am I referring to?
The attempted shooting of Timmy Daybell.
And you testified you don't believe it was a paintball gun.
That's correct.
So why not?
Through our investigation, we learned that Alex Cox was in the area and on the property of Chad Daybell the morning that Tammy Daybell was shot at October 9th. Through Google searches from Homer J. Maximus, which was Alex's Google account, the night that Tammy Daybell was shot, it was a colder evening. And the Google searches were how to make an AR-15 function in cold weather. And without referring to my notes, can I refer to my notes?
Would it refresh your memory to review your notes?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, may the witness look at his report.
No objection.
Yes, you can look at it, not to testify from, to refresh your recollection, so once you look at that, it's now.
drop yardage from
There we go.
on October 8th, the night before we believe Tammy was shot at. Alex is Googling drop yardage from 300 yards to 100 yards, which we assumed when you're shooting a rifle, you're adjusting your sights to your target. That was the night before. The morning of the shooting, Alex was on Mr. Daybell's property. We have him driving up and down the road of Mr. Daybell's property and also on the property. Later that evening into the early morning hours of October 10th is when he Googled how to make your AR-15 function in cold weather. So that's why we believe that it wasn't just a paintball gun. We believe that Alex Cox was there to shoot Tammy Daybell.
Okay. I'm going to have you look at this timeline.
It's ridiculous.
And as far as you're aware, these dates are accurate, correct?
I'm sorry.
As far as you're aware, these, in pursuant to your investigation, these dates are accurate, correct?
That's correct.
Did the fact that Tammy Daybell died 10 days after that incident have any bearing on whether or not you believed it was a paintball gun?
Yes.
Did the fact that Chad Daybell got married 17 days later have any bearing on your belief whether or not it was a paintball gun?
Yes.
The fact that there were 2 children buried on Chad Daybell's property have any bearing on whether or not you believed it was a paintball gun?
Yes.
Did the fact that Lori Vallow's husband died within months of these other deaths have any bearing on your belief of whether or not it was a paintball gun?
Absolutely.
And finally, did the fact that Brandon Boudreaux was shot at on October 2nd, 2019 have any bearing on your belief of whether or not it was a paintball gun?
Yes.
And it's your belief that Alex Cox was tied to these events, correct?
That's correct.
And because you were asked about your beliefs, was it your belief that Chad Daybell was tied to these events?
Yes.
Why?
Based on our investigation, the lies that we've been told, the fact that we tried to get a hold of the kids' mother, Lori Bello, the kid's stepfather, Chad Daybell, their uncle, Alex Cox. We weren't able to get a hold of anybody. We were left in the dark. Based on all those events, that's what our beliefs were collectively.
Pursuant to your investigation, you know when Alex Cox died?
December 12th, 2019.
At any time after Alex Cox died, did Mr. Daybell call the Rexburg police to report that there might be dead children located on his property?
No, he didn't.
Did he call the Rexburg police with any concerns that perhaps his wife had been harmed by someone?
No, he didn't.
Did he call the Rexburg police before Alex Cox died to say he might be in danger?
Judge, we're going beyond the scope, but walking through our progress, there'll be an opportunity to revisit those issues.
I'm going to sustain that objection. So
Okay.
absolutely.
Again, so the first time you met Chad Daybell, what was the first thing you asked him? When you had an opportunity to speak with him? This is a response to the cross your overruled.
I asked him when the last time he saw JJ Bello was.
And what did he answer?
In October in apartment 107 with Lori Bello.
And did you ask for Lori Vallow's phone number?
I did.
And what was his first response?
Judge, this has been asked to answer.
It's in response to the cross.
Overruled.
Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you, Mary. It's just a lot. It's a lot to process. It's a lot going on. It's literally he's the first one to even be speaking, and we're this deep into the case, right? Like, it's just a lot to think and process. It's just a lot. That's all.
His response was he didn't know her cell phone.
Detective, you were asked a little bit about how you do an investigation, right? And we spoke about the scope of your investigation in this case.
Correct.
It was your testimony that you followed where the evidence took you in this case.
That's correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Wood.
Does Pryor get to recross that?
There were a few, so well, a limited recross, particularly considering your statement that you're gonna recall the witness, it'll be limited, but if you'd like to, Mr. Pryor, you may.
Oh my gosh, this is torture. I'm uncomfortable for Ray, and this happened years ago. And the fact that he just has to sit there through this.
Detective, there was some testimony about,
What?
Thank you. There was some testimony that you had the whereabouts of Alex Cox on the property of Chad Daybell, and that would have been on the 9th.
That's correct.
Of October.
Yes,
Do you have a recollection of how long he was there on that property?
I don't.
Okay, and you're basing that knowledge on his phone records and his pings, right?
Correct.
Did you have an occasion to look at all day by way of his phone records, or did you just look at that specific time?
We were more interested in that specific time.
Okay, and I gather from your testimony that you didn't look at between 8 and 10 o'clock on the 9th when the paintball incident took place. You didn't look at that time for Alex Cox's whereabouts, did you?
If I remember right, I didn't get his location near the property at that time. There was no location.
Okay. And isn't it true, officer, that you didn't get his
He
location
knows
at that time because
about the
Alex
master
Cox's
thing straight up. He knows what he's doing.
phone was pinging in Idaho Falls at that time, several miles away?
I can't testify to that.
Okay. But you know he wasn't on the property by way of his phone ping and all of the metadata. That's the word you used, right? Metadata?
Correct.
By the metadata, Alex Cox wasn't on the Daybell property when Tammy Daybell was shot at with a paintball gun, correct?
No, sir, I can't answer that. I can answer that Alex Cox's cell phone or his device was not on the property.
Okay, and you can also say that his device was on Chad Daybell's property sometime in the morning of the 9th of October, right?
And driving down the roadway in front of the property.
Right. And we don't know who else was on the property on the 9th of October, do we?
I can't testify to who was on the property.
Right. So we don't know if he was there by himself or is he there with other folks, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And when we're talking about you've been on the Daybell property, right? A couple of times.
Yes.
And you took a photo of the car, and we're going to revisit that next time we get together. But
Get together like this is a freaking party. You're out of pocket, bro.
it's not 100 yards from the end of the Daybell driveway to the road, is it?
No, sir.
Do you have an idea of how long that driveway is? Could you give me an idea if you know?
I
Speculation.
couldn't testify to that.
Is it 50 yards?
No, I would say maybe
That's speculation. He's making him speculate.
30, maybe
30 yards?
20, 30 yards. Yeah.
So 60 to 90 feet.
That's my rough guess, yes.
Okay, so if we're looking at a rifle at 300 yards and dropping it down to 100 yards, we don't need 100 yards to get from one end of the Daybell driveway to the other, do we?
What our investigation or our belief was, if you're asking me what my belief is,
No, I'm asking you the distance down the end of the Daybell driveway to the top of the Daybell driveway. That's not 100 yards, right?
well, that's correct.
That's all I have, Judge. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you snapped off. Yeah, you killed that. Shut up. That's not the point. He hid in the field. Oh,
Mr. Wood, is
no.
the state of false sentiments.
He had the ghillie suit.
Yeah,
We went through
question.
the evidence.
Your Honor, may this witness need to stand?
I didn't know where that, you want to have a sidebar first?
No, we're
Okay, well, Lieutenant Colonel, you may go ahead and return down. And because you are still under subpoena, maybe recall, I will admonish you to abide by the court's exclusionary rule. You're not permitted to review testimony at the trial between now and the time you return testimony. If you fail to follow that and follow the trial or observe any testimony, you're not permitted to testify again. All right, okay, thank you.
Let's give Ray a round of applause, man. Unbelievably hard. Unbelievably hard to have to do that. Do we even come back from this? Looks like this is the end of the day. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even know what to say. I just have to process this. I knew some of that information, but I don't think it was ever as detailed as this was this time. So that was a lot. That was a lot to process. It's a lot to know in a short amount of time. Thank you guys, honestly, like just bottom of my heart, for being here, for the ups, the downs. of today and just in life in general. You guys have made this you've made this a safe place for me to just explore this part of my life and go through this with you. So thank you for being here for me and for each other in the chat. And I'm just grateful for our community. It just makes me, I'm just overwhelmed by the love and support that you guys continually bring. I don't know my thoughts yet. It's a lot to process over that last 2 days. I will keep you guys up to date on the community tab when we're going to go live once again, and let you know just everything timing wise. I'll share it, make sure you guys can be here so we can do this. I can't thank you guys enough for being here, and it just feels like I know that you guys have my back, and that just means everything to me. So thank you. And yeah, I love you guys. Appreciate you. And